Start the
Hey,
show?
get the what? Stop it. You. What are you mumbling under your breath?
Huh?
Welcome to Plat Chat episode 49. One away from 50, but not quite at 50 yet. We're on episode...
That's actually... It's the first episode where Bren didn't spend the 3 minutes before recording asking what episode number it was.
He's on point.
Because I wrote to run a show for this one.
Nice.
So when you guys see how shitty this episode is, you know who to blame.
Guest written by Brennon Hook.
Yeah, this will be the only one in the description that has who it's written by.
Yeah, welcome to Plat Chat episode 49. Not a lot has happened, but a lot has happened. And what I mean by that is that what are we talking about in this episode, lads? Playoffs. We're all about playoffs,
baby.
This is what we all been waiting for.
So ready.
Yep, culmination of what was it? 29 weeks of
Too many weeks. Too many weeks.
29 too
season.
many. Yeah.
Josh is pitching a 40-week regular season for 2021.
I want tournaments, a little bit of regular season in between of them, and then playoffs at the end. Give me elimination matches the entire way through. Yes, please.
Yep. But we're finally here, and we are. It's coming to the point of potentially the greatest tournament playoffs in Overwatch League history. But I'm not going to talk about that just yet, because I got to tell you about a little anecdote that happened to me earlier on in the day.
Oh, what happened?
I was hiking along the LA River. Don't recommend that, by the way. Not a good hike, because it's mainly concrete and also illegal to stand on the side of the LA River in the concrete areas. You know what I'm talking about?
I didn't even know there was a river in Los Angeles.
Well, it's like the Los Angeles River that goes through various things, you know? And you know the concrete thing that they make is like flood protection?
A dam.
Yeah.
It's not a dam. A dam blocks the river.
Yeah, it's not a dam. It's like flood protection. But basically, they built this, I think, years ago in LA because they were...
It's not a bridge. How is a bridge flood protection except that you can walk on it to avoid it if it floods? That isn't... Shut up, Matt.
An arc.
Anyway, I was walking down this bloody hike, and I got so far that eventually I was lost in the middle of nowhere. Now, Los Angeles is a pretty big place. And what I found was, as I was walking, I had my headphones on. I was listening to some tunes, some jams, you know, just catJAMing my way across the LA River.
Nice.
Don't really know what I was searching for. Mainly just looking for some quiet meditation, you know, some way out of the city. God Almighty, where am I going with this?
What happened?
What do you mean? What do you mean you're going with this? It's a story from your personal life. It's an anecdote.
It is literally a memory.
It's a memory.
You're not making it up as you go along. This isn't a fucking improv session. Where are you going with this?
Yes, and?
Yeah, and what happened?
Yes, and?
Well, what happened at the LA River?
What happened at the LA River? Well, Matt, I'll tell you.
Did you breathe?
Tell you what happened, Matt.
No, so I actually read this in the paper because there was a story about Bren actually in the paper. So my mom sent me a photo.
Trying to help me with the
my mom sent me a photo, and there was actually Bren was in the Swedish newspaper in my fishing village.
Oh, no way!
Because it happens that Bren has an ancestor.
Wait, Johnny, wait. I'm sure it sounds better from Bren's telling
the
story, right?
No, what actually happened was...
What was your ancestor in Sweden, Bren? What was the ancestor in Sweden doing?
Sorry?
Well, that was what Johnny said. An ancestor in Sweden. I want to hear it from you, though. I want to hear it from you. What was your ancestor
Brucing.
Bernard Fjordling.
Oh yeah, that was it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know where that's come from, but anyway, I was walking down the LA River and I was just out meandering, you know, and I walked a great distance, many miles, some would say. Many miles I walked across the lonely path that is life and death. And as I came to the conclusion when I was wandering around the very monuments of life, when I was staring defeat down the barrel, I came to the conclusion that T-Mobile will have the largest 5G network covering 215 million people nationwide in nearly 6,000 cities and towns. And even better, The nationwide 5G network works indoors and outdoors, covering thousands of miles while the competition only covers city blocks. To rank up and take your wireless game to the next level with T-Mobile. Visit T-Mobile.com today. All right? You little plebeians. So, yes, my improv story got lost somewhere during the actual story itself. Yes, I had no point towards it. No, yes, I'm getting enough sleep. No, I don't know what I'm doing here. Shut up. That's not why you're watching. You're watching because you love T-Mobile. You're all on T-Mobile, obviously. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this. And you're here to listen to some Overwatch stuff.
Yeah.
So that was in the Swedish newspaper anyway. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
A real
Gothenburg
dry
Post.
day of reporting happening over in Gothenburg.
Oh,
So
there
here's
was
the goal
as
for
wet as
today's
wet
show.
can be.
What?
The goal is simple. The Overwatch League is doing a bracket challenge, right?
A lot of Matt has to like interrupt. He's like, this
Yeah.
show is too crazy. I have
Well,
to interrupt and take over.
Well,
I'm the host now.
There's some Redditor out there who's going to be like, they never get to the point. So I'm going to get to the fucking point. We are going to make Kurt money.
Yes.
We know that you guys love to watch ads for Kurt.
Yep.
Hashtag ads for Kurt.
Yep.
This time, we're going to win the perfect bracket challenge for Kurt. Kurt,
It's going to be
you
so
fucking-
easy.
Kurt, you sign up for Battle.net, you put your little grubby username in, dude. You fucking type it in, you get that bracket up, and we're gonna get you a winner.
All right.
Yep, there it is.
But
Here we go.
first, let me explain the playoffs.
What is Kurt's name?
What is Kurt's name?
What was that at the top?
Kurt's name is
What was
Magic Gnome.
Magic
No.
Nice.
That's
Look out for
Kurt's
that.
alias. You ever see him on the Overwatch battlefield? Now you know.
But hold on, we need to find out. Get Kurt a mic. What would Kurt do with the $100,000 after he gets it for getting the perfect bracket?
Okay, hold on.
Kurt can't be seen on camera. He
I'm
only can speak
giving
off
him
camera.
the mic. Gotta turn it on though.
Oh.
Hello?
Kurt. Yes, Kurt. What would you do? Well, what will you do? Because obviously it's going to be a correct bracket. What will you do once you win $100,000?
Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
Buy a subscription from T-Mobile was the answer, Kurt.
I'll buy my family a subscription. I already have a T-Mobile.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is,
Oh,
dude. There it is. All right, that it's worth it. If Kurt's
No
gonna invest
Pop-Tarts or
all his
anything?
money in T-Mobile,
Pop-Tarts?
it's
Oh,
worth.
a lot of
SpongeBob?
Pop-Tarts.
The
A lot of
SpongeBob
Pop-Tarts.
ones?
Yes.
Yes. There it is.
You know, that's
Solid.
funny is,
Well, never heard a more deserving man. That's all for a good
Kurt's-
cause.
Kurt's
I was,
gonna put it to good use.
I was talking with Kurt. I think it was like a few days, like maybe it had been last week, and then I forgot how we were talking about like I was just gonna like explain to him something in terms of like Overwatch or Overwatch League, and he's like, "Well, I don't really watch, but I kind of get it because I just like sit there and listen to you guys talk about it every week." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." I was like, "You sit there and listen to us just blab about Overwatch." Like I'm like, essentially, you listen to the podcast because you record it, so yeah, you kind of have an idea what's going on. Makes sense.
But I mean, with Kurt's incredible knowledge that he's gleaned from weeks and weeks of Plat chat, plus the 4 best analysts in the entire scene, how could we fail to make the perfect bracket?
That's true.
If you were gonna piss people off, you just said Bren is one of the 4 best analysts in the whole scene.
I mean, have you seen the rest of the scene?
Oh, come on. There's people out there trying to live.
Jake and
Anyway.
Costa.
I wanted to explain the playoffs as well because there's going to be a lot of little Timmies, a lot of Sammies, a little, little Sandras out there who don't really know they don't know what's going on with the playoffs because,
Come on, Bren.
let's
Break
face
it
it,
down
it
for
hasn't
me,
been
Bren.
explained the best way. You know what I mean? So here's how it's going to work. Let me. I mean, I don't know if we got. Could you pull up the bracket maker, Kurt? And I'll
bracket
talk
maker.
us through it. So basically, there's going to be 2 tournaments that are played in North America and Asia. Starts off, there's going to be 5 rounds, I think, of games that have yet to be played. Starts off with Houston and Washington, and they pick 2 teams. The 2 remaining teams are Boston and Vancouver. And then from there, each team and each round picks their opponents based on the previous results of the previous round. So this takes place in both North America and Asia, but there's only a loser's bracket when you get past the initial 2 rounds, which means that for the first few games, if you lose, you're out. But after that, you have an opportunity to battle back through the loser's bracket to qualify for the overall grand finals. So this is taking place in North America, and if you click at the top as well, Kurt, you can see Asia. Yep. And this is happening in Asia as well. So it's happening in both of the regions. And eventually...
Look at that disgruntled panda, by the way.
It's very
He's so
pissed,
angry.
isn't it?
And what looks like a giraffe fucked a tiger. That is the most...
Where is the giraffe?
Is that a Lord's name?
That's a very long-necked tiger.
Where? Oh,
And on the left, the tiger.
The
It looks like
tiger.
he has a
I thought
really
you were
it
talking-
long
looks
neck.
more like a panther.
Yeah, there's a panther.
It's a tiger. It's the Soul Dynasty. It's a tiger.
But
Why
I thought
is
you
it
were talking...
gold?
I thought you were
How do
talking
you
about
know
the
it's a
dragon.
tiger?
Because the tigers, the Soul Dynasty's
That's a
animal
fucking
is the
panther.
tiger, and
That's a
it has that lining in its head. Whose animal is a panther? The
Soul
Hangzhou
Dynasty.
Spark. The Soul Dynasty's not a panther. They don't. I don't know whether they even have panthers in South Korea. I was about to say North Korea. What the fuck am I talking about?
Surely. No, wait. No, not at all. Why would I?
Dude, I watched so
Panthers,
many shows,
South
bro.
Korea.
There's probably panthers there.
Anyway,
Oh, there are military tanks called Black Panther. So there you go.
it all culminates in the grand finals. And that's where basically 2 teams in each region are going to qualify and eventually battle it out in another double elim bracket for the grand finals. Now, if this seems confusing, sit down and shut up, because it's not. Just think it out, think it through, and it should theoretically give us the best playoffs we have ever had in the history of Overwatch.
Yeah.
And
What a kick-ass format.
might I add as well,
I thought you said a Mai Tai. I was like,
Might
you're drinking
I
already?
add?
Muay Thai?
as well, this could
Yeah.
potentially be the greatest tournament playoffs in esports and sporting history, based on format.
Based on the
Based on the
format.
format.
Think
Well,
of the
yeah, in
storylines.
theory,
Oh wait, hold on. We have just. Could you imagine? Last week, Josh goes on a rant and says about everybody's dumb fucking takes on the Reddit, and we just spent the first 20 minutes. I argued that was a fucking panther on the graphic, and then you say this could be the greatest tournament
Yeah.
in the history of the world.
Yes. Yeah. But not maybe not in terms of the gameplay, but I think the format itself
Yeah.
is the greatest format that we could have thought of.
Yes, I
As
love
humans.
the format.
Yes.
I love how it rewards seeding, because the lower seeded teams still have a chance to win the entire thing. Like in theory, the Boston Uprising could win the entire season, but they would have to. I mean, they could get eliminated in the first round, eliminated in the second round. Even if they managed to get into the bracket, they then could knock down to the loser bracket. It is punishing but rewarding.
Yes.
If you go on some kind of crazy run.
Yeah. Yeah, it truly is.
I don't
So
know about greatest of all time.
I think it could be the
see,
greatest
but-
of all time.
The NBA playoffs would probably be pretty decent.
What did they even do in the NBA?
No, but Bren is talking about the format, right? So Bren is saying like other sports leagues will study this format for the ages.
Yes.
Like this will
But
be
also,
sports
I mean,
history right here.
Isn't there like the
essentially
story
it's
of OG coming out of the open qualifiers and going through the loser bracket run? I mean, we didn't have open
Yeah.
qualifiers, so you can't quite do something as ridiculous as that. I mean, you could have the Vancouver Titans win the entire league, going on some crazy lower bracket run after being rookies. That would be
If
mental.
the Vancouver Titans win the Overwatch League, I'll eat the T-Mobile sign behind Bren.
You would die.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
you would definitely die.
I also wouldn't eat it just because it's not gonna
Yeah, you have
happen.
no-
Here we're talking. Now we have a playoff format where lives are on the line. Now we're talking. Shit's about to get real.
We have the ante now.
All right.
Vancouver Titans will play like Matt lives depends on it. It's gonna be.
Please don't. Play like you normally play.
God, it would be funny if you had to eat a neon filament sign.
Oh my god, did you guys see this is gonna be the topic. Did you know the cards we got in the mail?
Oh, the upper deck
They
cards.
only
Yeah, yeah.
gave They
So,
gave me, Jake, and Jack 1 pack between us.
Yeah, I mean, what did you? Are you gonna go cry because you didn't get a pack of cards?
I don't really care that much, but I figured if they wanted me to post about it and use my social brand to post about the trading cards, they would send us 3 packs, but they only send us 1.
I mean, you're used to growing up in
the same pack.
Aren't you used to growing up in a poor UK household, Bren, where you had to share things between your siblings? The more siblings you have in the house, the more you have to share. Matt's an only child. He's spoiled. He gets a whole pack to himself.
I've grown up, bro.
That's not true. I have a brother, but okay.
I've literally
Brennan's grown up. Now he's just in a house with adult British people.
Custa got himself. And the chat just started to spam consume the card. They wanted him to eat his card.
Yeah, I saw that actually. And that was on the subreddit this morning.
Yeah, for days everybody was like, eat the card, eat the card. Like we were playing random games, me and him, and people were joining and just saying in the voice chat, eat the card. He didn't eat it.
People were coming into my chat asking me to eat the card that I was on.
You're on a card?
You're not on a card, are you?
I am on a card, yeah.
Really?
From when I 1v1 gesture. It's a moment card. Jack unboxed it and got me to sign it. And it's a picture of gesture and it says gesture smacks Bren or something in the talent takedown. And on the background, on the back of it, it gives a little bit of context where it's like Bren dominated a talent takedown and decided to challenge gesture. So Widowmaker 1v1.
Dominated the talent.
You should get gesture to sign it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Jack's card because they only gave us 1 pack.
I mean, how is that Jack's then? How did you decide what cards were?
Because I don't
Why
really
would you
care.
give Jack
was the only one motivated enough to open it up and
I didn't really
it.
care. Jake didn't really care. Jack wanted to unbox it on his streams. We were like, yeah, go on then.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm all about the card games. I spent probably $600 on Magic the Gathering boxes in the past 2 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would love to show off my cards, but wait, let's pull them out. Oh, no, they're over here, Cut.
No, let's do the podcast. Let's do the bracket.
You want to do the bracket? Let's get my Magic cards, though. I get to show them all.
I'm going to start talking about Magic the Gathering in the middle of Plat chat.
Yeah, nobody cares about
We'll do it later. Kurt was getting super excited, though.
You should actually cut out the little Overwatch League players' faces and put them in Magic the Gathering cards so that you can create a Magic the Gathering Overwatch deck.
That would remove the value from the cards. I'm not doing that.
We need to make Kurt money and pick his bracket.
Yeah,
okay.
Come on.
Well, no. We're not doing the bracket. We're not doing the bracket yet because section 3 of my run of show that I have created is titled Meta Talk catJAM, and in brackets, what the fuck is the meta? So,
oh boy.
Now we're gonna discuss the meta.
Did you see Nero's tweet? Did you see Nero's tweet today that was like, "You guys aren't ready for the APAC meta."
The APAC meta.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
I've heard
rumblings. The metas are quite different.
Yeah,
NA and APAC doesn't have the same meta.
I mean, dude, I can't see it being hog. What the hell?
Is that copyrighted? Oh, who gives a shit? Let's just...
No, that's fine.
I can't see it being Hog Zarya. I think it's got to be something else. But you know, playing Winston Zarya, I think is probably what happens.
It looks like the cat is sat on your knee, just backing away while you're talking about Hog Zarya.
I'm patting it.
Oh my god!
Off season's gonna be great.
Anyway, the dark. Wait. Oh god, where are we? Meta talk.
The meta.
The meta. I actually believe Hog Zarya.
I've done some investigating. And it seems as though that Roadhog and Zarya / Diva is viable on certain maps. But other teams opt for Winston, Zarya, and Dive. Ashe and Tracer are still strong. For the most part, not to make things complicated, teams try to play to their own strengths. because it's so messy and it's still not determined. So the teams are just trying to play what they're best at. If you have a great Ash Tracer, like a lot of North American teams have, you probably are going to play Ash Tracer. If you don't know how to play Ash Tracer, but you know how to play Sombra, you're probably going to play Sombra and you're going to dive. So we don't really know what the best composition is yet. But the good thing, I think anyway, is that teams are actually playing to their strength, because that makes for a very entertaining playoffs, and then we'll determine what the best composition is afterwards. But I think we're in for a very messy first week. We have 18 matches between NA and APAC.
Yeah.
It's going to be absolute chaos, because we're going to see so many comps, so many mistimed ultimates, because you don't know what you're doing with your team. Roadhog, Zarya, D.Va, Winston, Ash, Tracer, Dive. Who knows? It's going to be utterly crazy.
You're not going to learn a thing about the meta this week.
Well,
I mean,
you might, though.
I don't
Here's
think
the
so.
thing.
Yeah.
Because what I think you'll see over these over the initial playoffs between North American teams playing against each other and the APAC teams is what you'll get is you will get a couple of compositions that have been distilled down as the comps that are the best in theory, right? That teams like to play, and then you got to think after that, the actual grand finals playoffs. That's like what 3 weeks away after that.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 weeks in between.
Yeah.
That's
Multiple
a lot of
week
time.
break.
A lot of time to distill down what the best meta is.
It is, yeah. It's also a massive advantage to those teams that got a higher seeding throughout the regular season, because they don't have to potentially get upset because they had a bad read on the meta early on. There's going to be a chaos and carnage, but there's also going to be a lot of upsets early. And that means that some teams will be better teams, but lose because they just didn't get the meta. And that's not really going to be a fault of theirs. I mean, there's always this big argument in Overwatch, the best teams are the ones that adapt quickest or whatever. But if you just happen to have practiced one comp, or you thought it was better, so you've put more time into it, but it turns out that if you play it over a long period of time or against this specific team, it loses. That's the kind of shit show that just occasionally happens at the beginning of these situations. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to pick out what the good comps are until we get halfway through these.
You're gonna have one team, or maybe one team in each region, really, realistically, that kind of does the Florida Mayhem Melee, where they play the Tracer where nobody else was and wins like 2 games, right?
Yeah,
and makes it to next week. But you're gonna have somebody who plays a certain comp really well that other people aren't prepared for, and comes out and has that type of performance.
There's also a strong chance, in my opinion, that the end results in both regions are very different, because the way that these things normally work is that they trickle down from the top. If a top team runs something and people can't beat it, they copy it, because it's better to do a mirror match than just getting beaten by whatever they're running. At least then you have the same ults and you can track it and try and play the counter effectively. So in Asia, it seems to me to be very likely we're headed for some Sombra dive kind of stuff, because that is what Shanghai are going to play the most naturally, and it's already viable based on what people have been alluding to. And if no one can beat it, then people are probably going to try and mirror it. I mean, that isn't what I've heard from APAC. APAC meta, apparently, like Nero's tweeting about, is fucking mental. But I think it'll end up distilling down to
give me Eamon on ball, Elsa on Roadhog, dude. Give me the hog ball, bro.
I'm telling you right now, it's gonna happen.
Hog, dude.
When did I predict this?
I played ranked today, and
I don't think you did predict that, Bren.
When did I predict this?
I don't think you did.
When did you?
You said it was going to be a Rissa ball.
Yeah,
that was your big prediction.
No.
Yeah, you definitely said a Rissa ball.
I definitely said Chengdu were gonna make it far, though.
Well, wait, I never said that either. I just said that
they're playing the first round. We'll see.
Yeah, I never said that. I don't know.
Yeah, wait till we get to the Dark Horse segment, Johnny.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I think we're going to have a bit of a Apex Season 3 scenario at our hands, where a team like Rogue, who at the time played a lot of triple DPS, came into Korea and just stunned Korea, and Korea were like, what the hell is this triple DPS composition, and how are they making it work? But then 2 weeks afterwards, Lunatic High, Luxury Watch Blue, they just figured it out and they just beat triple DPS. We might have a similar scenario here where some teams might get lucky in the early rounds because they're playing a certain comp, and then gets figured out and they fall flats in the later rounds, or even when we get to NA and APAC clashing in the end.
I could see that in the end, though. Is like when NA and APAC start to clash towards the end, the teams in NA will be like, oh, well, our comp is definitely the better comp to play, right? And the APAC will say, no, our comp is definitely better than that comp. And then you'll just have them like at that point, it's like it's almost like a coin flip until like we actually see it happen. Because one of those regions is going to get shocked if they don't settle on the same thing. They're going to like come out and like not be able to beat it and then have like a day to turn around and figure something else out.
Here's kind of the interesting thing about that, though, is that it's the NA teams going over to Asia, which means that the NA teams can scrim against other Asian teams like Korean contender teams that'll be playing that style. But the Korean teams or the Asian teams in general, whoever makes it to the grand finals, they're not going to be able to scrim against other North American teams. They're not going to be able to scrim against any North American teams. They're only going to be able to scrim against other Korean teams. So you'll be in a situation where the NA teams, if they have the better meta, will probably roll the Korean team or the Asian teams. But the other way around, the NA teams will actually have time to adapt because they get to scrim against that style.
Yeah, it's almost like the Asian teams are almost at a little bit of a disadvantage in that type of scenario.
Except they don't have to quarantine for 2 weeks. So I think it equalizes out at the end.
Yeah, that's true.
But even then, even if Shock gets to, or whoever gets to Korea, and Korea has the better meta, like Shock learning that meta in the span of like, 2 weeks, and then taking down Shanghai Dragons and insert whoever second place. No, it's like, it's not going to happen, dude. Like it's very likely that we might get to the actual top 4 in Korea, and the matches are already determined before they've even started because of the meta and how it works out between the two regions. It is just so difficult to play this comp for so long, and then you're like, oh, we gotta pick up this new style, and we have 2 weeks to beat the best team in the world at it. It's like, it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out, but I actually suspect that NA will fall flat in the top 4 just because of the circumstances.
Well, there you go. John told you don't even watch. He said they're gonna fall flat.
You think so? I mean, it is something to consider, the fact that they are going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks, and is it taking place in South Korea?
I don't
think it's just wherever the heck they can get to based on visas.
Yeah.
Right. South Korea,
which is probably Korea.
Yeah, I mean, Korea would seem like the most logical place. Assuming it is Korea, because I'm pretty well versed in the quarantine procedure in Korea, because I was considering quitting my job and going there. Recently.
I think you talked about this on a previous episode, right? Where you said you were going to become a English as a second language tutor.
There was a couple of things I was going to be like. Basically, I weighed up either surfing in Indonesia or potentially just teaching in Korea.
Why Indonesia?
Because I've been there before. Good surfing.
Oh,
so I've been told. I don't actually surf.
So they said that it'll be the 2 NA teams will fly to an unspecified location in Asia before the finals with weeks off to accommodate for travel and logistic challenges. So it could be anywhere
it could be anywhere.
Let's hold it in Indonesia.
Well, I think,
and we can go
Korea
surfing.
would be the easiest in my mind, but I could be wrong about that because you basically quarantine for 2 weeks in a hotel. Now, the hotels themselves, if you bring your PC setup and everything with you, you could play in your hotel rooms. This is going to be very difficult.
People are going to do that for sure. Yeah,
but what if your PC breaks?
Well, if your PC breaks, I don't know. You get people to order you parts. There'll be people like there are also people who like Overwatch and are involved in the Overwatch scene in Korea. So I don't think they'll be struggling for people to help them out.
You can get sent stuff to the door.
How do they get food?
Yes.
Well, they get three meals a day.
Opens.
3 meals a day, one in the morning, very early on, one in the afternoon, one in the evening.
How are you an expert on?
Because I've watched all of Wolf's videos when he was going
Wolf's
through
videos.
it.
Oh, but you can't get sent anything from the outside.
I don't think you can get sent anything.
But why? They're trying to stop things from going out, not coming in.
It's just they are so incredibly strict that they just don't let people even go into the facility unless you work there.
Right.
Into the hotels unless you're working there. So what if somebody's PC broke? Then they just wouldn't be able to scrim.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, how often do people's PCs break? I feel like that's such a.
If you're flying.
But they're not going to fly with their PC. They're going to get PCs while they're there, aren't they?
I mean,
How are they going to get it when they're there?
Overwatch could run on a laptop and a monitor at a decent.
Let me explain to you how.
Oh yeah, laptop and a monitor.
How are they going to get a PC when they're there?
Finals.
As soon as you touch down in Korea, if it's in Korea, I'm assuming it is, you go straight onto a bus to the hotel to quarantine. There's no interim period. It's
you ever see Josh travel? Just throw your fucking computer in your backpack.
Bren, I feel like there are much smarter people at the
handling this.
Fortune 500 company Activision that will perhaps be able to figure out a solution to this issue of getting a PC.
This is how complacency.
It's not Bren's logistical nightmare here. This is somebody who's way more powerful than Bren solving this.
This is how complacency seeps in to Fortune 500 companies.
It's not complacency. You're just not aware of the solution.
You're just not aware of the way
people
they're
knew
handling
about
it.
this. John Spector has talked to us about this very issue months ago.
He talked about it in the article on The Verge I just read. They are aware of the situation.
I don't know, man. They got somebody's got.
They know. Yeah.
Someone's got to tell them.
Well,
okay.
I'm not even worried about the technological factors. I'm just worried about the team aspect. I mean, being in quarantine for 2 weeks, not seeing another human being.
Yeah, it's
and like,
rough, right?
you get to hang out on Discord or whatever. But I mean, we've been in quarantine for what, months now, and I'm like, it gets to you, bro.
What do you mean?
I feel like
I'm
in
chilling.
that 2 weeks right before the grand finals, even if you were your own home, you'd be focused on the game.
Day.
I mean, you would be grinding. Like, that's the period of time, surely, where you're just committed the most to the game anyway.
You'd essentially
but there's emotional attachment to it. There's emotional attachment to it. So what if you have a bad day of practice and just like, hey, we're on day 2 or day 3 of coming to Korea. Hey, we're losing in scrims. The meta's not perfect. Hey, our coach just subbed in this guy instead of me. It's like an emotional roller coaster. And it could go very wrong. It could go very wrong if you have too much emotion invested and it affects your practice and it affects your team chemistry. It's like, this is just speaking as a player. Like, when you get to those positions where the energy is really bad within the team, you're stuck in quarantine and emotional is just affecting you, it could go poorly. I'm just saying. Sure. So, and they could fall flat.
Here's a hot take.
Here we go. Yep.
Teams that go through the quarantine procedure are the teams that will come out strongest.
Like some kind of
Forge in the Flames, yeah.
No. I'm not saying some Forge in the Flames bullshit, okay? Here's my point.
Like
my point is
Targaryen, where she walks out of the fire.
The teams already are playing like they might have a practice room that they go to, but generally speaking, I think the change in environment will solidify in their heads. Like the process of flying from one country to another, of sitting down in this room, and your sole goal and focus, the reason for you being there is for Overwatch. That change of environment, I think, would help you focus more so than if you were
for a LAN. People used to do those for esports all the time.
Yes. But I think if you are like one of the Asian teams and you just are staying at your normal boot camp area, or maybe you're playing from home, sometimes I think the monotony of quarantine will get broken up from the traveling aspect, which is why I think there's a chance that the quarantine teams may play better.
So a lot of ifs and coulds.
Yeah, so all I hear from that side of the fucking table.
That's what this
is
entire
just a bunch of just hypotheticals.
That's what this entire episode's about.
Sure, and also making Kurt a lot of money.
I'm making Kurt a bunch of money. What's the title of this video, by the way?
Make Kurt money.
We made Kurt $100,000.
We made Kurt $10,000.
$100,000 for the perfect bracket.
Okay, all right. Yeah. 100,000.
Also, I don't think we discussed the rumors about the specifics of what the APAC meta is. Is that something we want to go into, or are we waiting until it's actually shown on broadcast?
I'm not sure we should save it for the broadcast. I don't think I've seen anything public,
because otherwise it's just leaking scrim data, isn't it?
I don't even know.
Have you been speaking to any players or anything?
That's why I'm
No.
saying we should say to the audience though that we have some idea of what it's going to be,
Wait,
but
what
that
is
we
it?
can't share it, so that we're not just. Bren's the only person that
Bren's
has
like,
no
oh,
idea.
yeah, well, yeah, Bren's the only person who has no idea.
But
But
then it's like if that is our only information, then we can't speak about it because
Nope,
we're not
we
allowed to
can't
speak about it.
Yep. So you
Yeah.
guys have to tune in to the APAC games starting at 2 a.m.
Except that it's to say that it's very
Thursday.
unusual, right? Like I would say.
Okay, yeah.
Well, this
Highly
whole,
unexpected.
this whole patch is unusual.
Wait, what the fuck?
So the thing
The-
is,
the
right?
whole
If you
patch is
say
unusual.
now, what the meta is, then other teams in the region will have information.
I'm
that
not
wasn't
going to
necessarily
say what the
I'm not
meta
gonna
is.
say what the meta
I'm
is.
not going to
which
say
is
what the
why-
meta
yeah,
is,
which
other
is
than
why you're
that
not
was
gonna
my
say it.
genuine reaction to reading what the meta was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Was what in the fuck?
It's
Yeah,
gonna
and
be
that's
sick.
why Nero was saying no one's prepared for it because it's a meta that we have. I mean, we haven't seen Hog Zarya all year long as
We're
well.
just
so that-
blue balling our listeners right now.
Yeah.
Just,
exactly.
It's so sick. Tune in.
Yeah.
It's-
That's what
I
we're
actually think-
basically clickbait YouTubing right
Right.
now. This is how you're supposed to do it.
It's
I
gonna be
actually
mental.
think this is an amazing meta if it did happen though
Yeah.
for the finals.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about NA? Let's talk about NA.
No,
Yeah.
No,
just
no.
let's do the bracket. Let's just not
No,
talk
no, no. We're
about
not
it.
doing
yeah,
the
let's do
bracket
the
yet.
bracket.
That's not what. Can you stop
Oh.
taking over my goddamn show?
Your?
Written by Bren, by the way.
I wrote this show.
Your show shows up, once a month. We have bootleg Bren Jaws filling in, dude, just reading off the script, and he comes back. He screams for 2 weeks. It's his
Here we
show
go.
now.
Here's what I wanted to do. This is my segment, okay? We're going to go
Okay.
around in a little circle, a round table kind of style, where we're going to
Yep.
go, each person talks about one team you have as a dark horse. Not to win it all,
right.
but to perform well. A team where you have...
We've already had many arguments on this show
Yeah.
about your literal definition
Oh yeah,
of dark
what
horse.
is the definition of
The
it?
de-
Because
definition
your
is
definition
a
is dumb.
team exceeding expectations.
Oh,
Let's
that's
go with
it.
that.
Because you insisted that it meant a team that has no expectations, a team of unknowns.
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
you insisted that it meant.
That's okay. So the definition is here: a candidate or competitor about whom little is known, but who unexpectedly wins or succeeds.
So that doesn't make sense because we know about.
Yeah, so we're not
Everyone.
going
We know
by.
how
We're
dark
not.
horse is pronounced, Kurt. It's just the words dark and horse.
Yeah, we know, Kurt.
We're not
Thank you.
going by this definition, but that is my main argument. Here's just shut up, okay?
All
Just
right,
go with the
all right.
flow, all right? Maybe
All right.
get a massage or something, huh? Do some yoga, all right? Because you're getting on my case, all right? Chill
Okay,
out.
I'm ready. I'm chilled.
Listen,
I'm chilled.
we're gonna go around in a circle, a little dark horse action, and we're gonna make our case for a dark horse team that we expect to perform well. Matt, you're first.
Which region, or just both
Any-
of the regions?
any region.
combined? All right. Let's see.
What do you have in your
would
bracket?
Well, that's what I'm looking for. Who would I consider a dark horse in my bracket? I mean, I
waiting.
guess if I had to pick somebody, my bracket's not that interesting. If I had to pick somebody,
Is
it would
anything about you interesting, Matt?
probably be- yeah.
His beard is nice.
Yeah,
True. And he has a cute dog.
that's true. It's true.
You got
Uh,
like what do you
I'd probably
Optimus, the
say
Boreal, or
I'd probably say
Borealis?
Chengdu. Chengdu is my
Chengdu?
dark horse. Yeah, because I think Chengdu in a wild game or a wild meta, if that's what it turns out to be, yep, that is the Chengdu logo. I think they can beat
There they
London
are.
rather. I think they can beat London rather convincingly. And then
Yeah.
I think they're a scary matchup for a team like New York, because New York plays so kind of I guess New York kind of plays so by the book, right? I guess that's kind of how you would say it, that when you kind of get New York in these crazy games, sometimes they don't react properly. And I guess you would consider Chengdu winning 2 rounds a dark horse kind of run upset
All right
to
then,
like
Matt.
top 4. So I think that's what I would say.
I mean, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Johnny, what about you?
Okay, so I mean, okay, so what's the end goal here? Because Matt said, I probably should have this closer to my face.
Wow,
Matt
is anything
said,
interesting about Johnny?
Matt
He's so
said
boring
that
already.
it was a dark horse that Chengdu would make it 2 rounds.
Yeah,
through
it's a
playoffs.
team
What-
exceeding expectations.
Oh, exceeding expectations. Okay, so it's
Yes.
not like top 4. It's not like top 4. It's like just
A
exceeding
team that is
expectations.
will perform better than what most people would expect.
Okay, so I'll throw 2 names out there and potentially rob Brennan and Sideshow of their points. Okay,
Okay.
is that okay?
There we go.
Okay, North America, the Houston Outlaws.
No, I like this. Yeah. Okay.
Lord Almighty, explain yourself.
Hydration has the flexibility required to make the instantaneous Roadhog swap happen in live games. I do have my questions and concerns about Meko's ability to play, Zarya at the level it might be desired if you want to make it deeper in the tournament. Dante can play the Sombra and the Tracer, depending on if you want to play an Ashe or if you want to play whatever. You have Linkser, who needs to pop off, and he can play the Ashe and the Widowmaker. So realistically, you have 2 damage players who really complement each other, and when they play at their peak, okay, this is Dark Horse. So when they play at their peak, could deliver some good performances, combined with the flexibility required from the tank roles in your team. And then, if that was not enough, Jexy on Mercy, I am excited for, because I think that might be legitimately good. We haven't seen a ton of Jexy's Mercy, but if you remember, when Mercy had that ridiculous Valkyrie buff, when they were just zooming across the map and just gunning people down, Jexy was one of the best Mercies in the game. So, not in the game. Okay, he was a good Mercy. He was a good Mercy, that's all. But still, I think this is a team that has the potential to put it in their best performances so far this season. The Houston Outlaws. I can't believe I'm saying it. But if things like, if everything comes together, they could make like top 5, maybe.
Yeah.
Top 6.
Lynx is my only concern there. I'm actually really interested by the hydration Roadhog idea. I had forgotten. It's such a wild shift in your paradigms to even think about like main tank being Roadhog that I haven't quite thought about which teams this would be good or bad for. But my God, I mean, that would just fit hydration like a glove.
Well, does it help teams that have 2 off tanks like on their roster?
Should do, right?
Like if you were like Philly, right, and you can play Fury and Poco, like then, Fury on the Hog and then Poco.
Can you really play Hog
Yeah.
Zarya for the whole map? Like, don't you need to swap to a main tank at some point?
That's what I've heard as well. You kind of get countered pretty hard because the teams expose your lack of flexibility. So you can force it on some maps, but then if you don't, then you're just like, hey, we're gonna have a damaged player play main tank. You often get exposed by the enemy team.
Boombox Hog, dude.
Yeah.
What? Did you have another
Fury
team?
and Poco.
Did you have another
Fury
team,
Roadhog,
Johnny?
Poco Zarya? That might be
Did
cool.
you have another?
Did you have a team?
Yeah, I mean, and Sideshow said he expected the meta to go towards maybe like Sombra Tracer or something in the APAC region. I think you said it earlier on in the show.
Yeah.
I actually predicted the Soul Dynasty to go pretty far. Because I think if they play the Winston, gesture, he might have some good performance on there. I think that Soul has showed some of their best gameplay as of recent. Didn't they get wrecked in their last game of the season?
They got beaten by the Hanjo Spark, like completely, yeah. But
Yes, they
before
did
that,
get
they were
absolutely
playing some
demolished,
pretty
yeah.
good Overwatch.
And Profit in the playoffs. I am concerned, about the meta to make Fitz and Profit really work. I don't think Illicit has a spot in this roster. Curious about the off-tank position. I think they'll have to retort to play Gesture and Michelle. I don't think Marvel necessarily has a place in this unless he has a Roadhog too. God knows. So we'll have to see what happens with the Soul Dynasty. But I think they have the pieces. Just need to figure stuff out because they haven't figured stuff out for 29 weeks. YOLO.
Josh.
I mean, it's hard when the obvious picks have already been taken, right? Because I think
You can say another pick. You can say, you can say the same team.
you could say another team. Thanks, Bren. Yeah, that's the problem, actually. I've got a couple of ideas here for you, though. I feel like considering the placement of the Gladiators throughout this season, where did they finish? Was it 6th or 7th overall? Yeah, 6th, I think. Not overall, sorry, but in North America. Considering they've been kind of typecast as a pretty mediocre team that hasn't lived up to expectations this year. Yeah, the Gladiators. Considering that that's been their story over the regular season, I feel like they could do pretty well in this offseason. It would require Birdring to be pounding on the Widowmaker or the Ashe or whatever hit scan ends up being played, which I think could definitely happen. Birdring's normally a player that levels up during playoffs, and he's already been performing like a freak recently as well. If there's some kind of Winston meta, then that works pretty well for for OG. I just don't know what to think about this like Hog Zarya thing. I feel like it's impossible to predict who's going to be good with that.
I would say if there's any
New
team
York?
in NA, if there's any team in NA outside of the top like 4 we definitely know of that I would feel the best about, like let's say making a crazy run and actually making it to the finals, I think would be the Gladiators. That's how I felt in NA. I mean, if you were to ask me like who I think outside of like your usuals I think could make it all the way to the end, Gladiators would probably be the one I would go with.
Yeah.
A team in NA I think could do pretty decent is Dallas. I think Dallas would have a tough go in like their round 3, but I think if it's something with like a Sombra with Doha on the Sombra, I think they could definitely upset a team or make it close.
Good. Can you pull up my
don't buy
bracket?
I ain't picking them. I ain't picking them.
Yeah,
but it could
thanks.
happen.
I mean,
Alright.
anything could happen, couldn't it?
Here's what I'm thinking.
No.
Okay. Did you just say no?
Yeah, Josh said anything can happen. I said no.
Well, anything could happen.
Literally anything could
let's-
happen.
Okay. Let's go over to Asia.
Well, this is your bracket, Bren.
And I think the
Wait.
Chengdu Hunters, I think they could go
You've got
pretty
the
far.
Chengdu Hunters going to the
What a
finals?
What a dumb bracket you
Oh, no,
have.
nearly going to the finals.
Nearly to the finals.
Wait, what? Hold up. So you have Chengdu beating London. I have
Yeah.
that as well.
You have New York not
why
making
does
it out
New
of the preliminaries.
Yeah, why does New York pick Seoul there?
Because they don't want to go up against the Hunters. They don't want to catch those panda paws, fam.
What,
you know what I
do
mean?
you mean?
That could happen. I mean,
I
if
don't think
Chengdu
they'll
are
want
playing-
to. I don't think they'll want to play Chengdu.
Yeah, but you don't think they would say, "Oh, hey, let's pit Seoul against Hangzhou," where Hangzhou just beat Seoul, and let Hangzhou take care of them and give them a chance against one of the lowest seeded teams in the
I
region?
feel like you just don't want to play against Chengdu ever.
I mean, also, from what we've heard from Asia, I mean, I don't know whether Chengdu's even going to be good, right?
You don't know. Yeah.
Like, there's no current reason to believe that Chengdu would go on a run
I think
based on the
Chengdu's
meta.
gonna. I think Chengdu's gonna pull out some of that 2019 magic.
God, that would be
Oh,
incredible to watch.
I think they're gonna be pulling out some absolute crackhead competitions.
So you have, hold on. Wait, you had New
But it's
York.
gambling.
Wait, you had New York
Yeah.
losing to Seoul,
Yep.
and then you had Chengdu beating them in the lower bracket.
Yep.
I mean, this
Wow.
is, if there's ever going to be a perfect bracket this year, which it's statistically incredibly unlikely, but if there is a perfect bracket, it's going to look something like that. It's just going to look like nonsense.
Just a mishmash of
Telling
fucking
ya.
teams.
I'm
Yeah,
telling
there's
you.
no way that all of the actual
Chengdu-
teams win.
I think Chengdu are gonna pull out some of that 2019 magic.
You take some calculated risks.
Magic.
Like I
That
had
is a
Chengdu-
calculated risk.
I had Chengdu beating. I had them beating London and then losing to New York, and then Hangzhou beating Seoul.
I think New York could be good.
I think New York will be fine.
Yeah.
New York,
This is what I
That-
had.
This is Matt's bracket, but we're not here to look at individual brackets. You know
we're
what I
here to
mean?
combine our wisdom.
Yeah,
the
we're here to
wisdom of the
combine
crowd.
our
We're
minds
gonna build
together.
it for Kurt.
We got to make Kurt
So-
$100,000 so he doesn't have to produce our show anymore.
True.
Okay.
Well, he
But
still would have
Bren,
to.
did you,
contractually,
Bren,
yeah.
did you say an upset team, Bren?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Chengdu.
Oh yeah, Chengdu, of course. Oh yeah, of course. I
alright.
wanted to say though. Oh wait, we're gonna do APAC as well. So I guess we'll get
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can talk about it later.
I think this is it though. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I thought we were gonna start it.
Yeah, we
All
are.
right,
Let's start it. Let's go.
Let's
time
go.
to make Kurt some money.
So
Yes,
let's go,
this
Kurt.
this segment was going to be the roasting and reviewing of brackets, where we go
Okay.
through one at a time and roast. But this is a much better
This
idea.
is way better.
We're gonna make
So-
Kurt.
$100,000. You forgot how
$100,000.
much money again? Yeah.
So Houston picks Vancouver.
Houston
And
have
then
already
Washington
picked Boston,
picks-
man.
Houston's
haven't
already
they?
picked Boston. Yeah. So there you go.
Jesus Christ.
Uh,
I mean, you can't. Bracket doomed already if Johnny was in control.
I mean,
He'd deliberately throw it.
No.
A deliberate throw.
Good
We
thing,
have
me
the
and Josh
opening.
watched, good thing me and Josh watched the Overwatch League.
I was the host of that show. I was hosting
Match
the
number
segment.
one. What have we got here? Who's
Oh,
playing?
come on. Houston's going to
Houston,
be
Boston. I mean, it's
Yeah.
got to be Houston.
Yep.
This is not
Washington.
an upset. This next match
I
struggled
Washington
with.
here.
Washington,
I
Vancouver.
Washington does it.
Yeah, I mean, Washington have now got Decay. And
I think it's going to be Washington.
Yeah.
Yep.
you think it
absolutely.
is?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do
Yeah.
you all think it's going to be Washington?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I couldn't pick Washington. I just ended up
really?
going with Titans myself.
No.
But wisdom of the crowd. That's the whole reason we're doing this together.
Yeah.
I went
Put the brain
Washington.
trust together. Go for it, Washington.
Yeah, Washington's gonna have some time to incorporate Decay, and I think they'll be fine.
Oh,
And the meta might suit them with Roar playing his best role, and then you have
Yeah.
fucking Jono in the off tank role.
wait, what is Raw playing his best role?
Roadhog.
Winston.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Winston.
playing his
Roadhog
Winston,
might as well
yeah.
be his Reinhardt. Who cares at this point?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Okay, now who did the
Who do
Gladiators
these teams pick? I think they would pick either Toronto or Washington.
Yeah,
I think
would say
Toronto.
Toronto first too.
I think Toronto.
Yeah.
Probably Toronto.
They play
Uh,
so slow.
Yeah.
They are just the sloth team.
And I don't think you would wanna. Yeah, I think.
What
you
about
would pick Toronto.
agilities on main tank? What if they run agilities in
What?
the Roadhog
Oh,
as main tank?
shut your mouth.
Dude,
Uh,
they could do it.
They could
And
give Snizzlenose a 14-day contract.
Atlanta then probably picks the Justice, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I don't know.
Oh, Hugh.
This is a difficult
Really?
one. You
I
don't
don't think. I mean, it can't. Yeah, I mean, decay is always a factor to consider.
Decay
this
is
why
the factor
Dallas
you got to
was
consider
dangerous.
here.
No, they would pick.
I think you got to pick Washington though. You have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
think
have
yes,
On
to.
my
dude.
bracket, I went with Outlaws.
Okay.
Really? You went
But-
with Outlaws. You kept Washington as the last
But hey,
pick.
the majority thinks it's going to be Washington, so we'll go with that.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
And then the Dallas pick,
Yeah.
obviously the Outlaws.
I think
That sets us up for an
obviously,
amazing
easy,
Texas
yeah.
battle. I think that no matter which way this goes, we are very likely to see the battle for Texas in that
Yeah.
round, though.
I think
Just-
so as well.
I mean, unless Bren is right and Justice, unless people are really fearing Decay because of what he's just brutalized people in scrims, I guess. But it makes the most sense for us to have a battle for Texas.
Yeah. My own bracket, I had the Gladiators taking the Justice, and then Atlanta. I actually had Atlanta taking Houston, and then Toronto going to Dallas. But I think this is way better.
You
Toronto
have
last.
Toronto being the last pick in your bracket.
Yeah.
I think they're the
woeful.
least dangerous out of the three.
Yeah. No, they are. They are.
Why are they the last pick then?
I didn't really think about it when I made it because I did it right before the show. But
Hmm.
All right,
usually,
okay.
though, usually when I pick it right before the show, I'm usually right.
That's true. That is true.
Okay.
Like when you predicted Chengdu, then said you would never predict Chengdu again, and then
And then
Oh,
pick
you-
Chengdu, and
you
then they
didn't
won.
predict Chengdu, and then you said you would never do it, and then you did it. right after.
Are any
Yeah.
of these matches close outside of Dallas, Houston?
Could you
Toronto-
see Justice upsetting Atlanta?
That's the
Maybe
one
in a
I
world,
think
yeah.
you could be like, if you were picking like a mega upset here, that would be the one to do, right?
I mean, I
God,
don't
that
know
would
what
be
they're doing.
outrageous, though.
Yeah.
I think you would have to go Atlanta,
You
and
have
then
to.
I think Dallas beats Houston.
I think Houston beats Dallas. I
Really?
think Dallas Fuel is the most stiff team in the world. It's like Dallas Fuel is the definition of a team that can't reach their toes. It's like so annoying to watch this
What?
team because they're just like they're a fun they're I'm broken. I'm breaking.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little bit torn with this match.
They don't have
here.
the flexibility for this playoff meta, and they also don't have the individual skill. And Doha's gonna probably play Sombra, or he's gonna be
Yeah.
forced on an off
But
hero. Houston
if
has
you-
every advantage in the book here, I think.
The only advantage they don't have, in my opinion, is that they have sucked playing dive. Like, if it ends up being a Sombra dive, I don't think that Doha has synced up with his team better than Dante has, but I think that Hydration has just been woeful in terms of his synergy when they've been playing dive.
Fair.
Like, if it was a dive Sombra mirror, both teams have got good Sombras, but Houston have just sucked at their coordination all year long. And if Hydration has been playing Hog, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck North America is going to be playing at this point in time.
I
Yeah.
mean, here's what you're getting with Dallas Fuel. What you're getting with Dallas Fuel is a reasonable performance that's fairly consistent and nothing too surprising. Is that going to
Yeah.
trump
Isn't that
the
enough to be the
Houston Outlaws?
Outlaws?
That's wild.
I mean,
could
yeah,
be-
that
it
kinda
could be
sou-
enough.
It
It could
definitely
be.
sounds like a team that would beat the Outlaws. Yeah, I
I think I would favor the Outlaws here because if the
Kurt, you
yeah, I
decide.
mean, here's the thing that we have to also consider. If the Outlaws have been left until last, it means they've been doing well in scrims. Therefore, they should win. So, in
Yeah.
order for us to get to this point,
Yeah.
we must accept that Houston are more likely to win.
Yeah, he's right.
I think this
We
is
must
around.
be perfect here. We're not trying to get the most right, on average. We're trying to be fucking perfect.
Yeah, he's right.
So
Dante's-
Houston must dominate.
Dante Sombra is pretty good as well.
Yeah,
I
keep
think you have
rationalizing it,
to-
Matt. Keep rationalizing it.
Yeah, maybe
I think
you
you're right.
kind of maybe you ride it a little bit. Maybe you gamble on this one. Take the Outlaws.
By the way, I'm looking at their historic matches this season.
Yeah.
It's looking great for Houston. They have never beaten Dallas all year long, so this is their time.
This is the time. Yeah, hit
This
the
is
Outlaws.
their time.
Ride or die with the
Okay,
Outlaws.
yeah.
I
They
also
haven't
have
beaten
the-
Dallas once.
I also have the
No.
lowest prediction rate out of all four of us. So,
Yup.
don't listen to me too much.
Nobody does.
Ah,
Fusion. Who do they
Probably
pick?
I had them picking the Valiant.
The Valiant?
Okay.
I had them pick the Valiant because
That's
the
the pipe.
Valiant are the least flexible out of any of these teams, and I don't know if they'll.
No.
Scare
no,
them
no,
that
no,
much.
No,
I think
no.
this meta plays into their hands.
You think it plays into the Valiant's hands?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
To a degree.
Valiant don't have a Sombra player.
No,
and
but
their
we're
main
not.
tanks
Hold
don't play,
on.
aren't individually mechanically
Your
skilled.
brain is too
Joe,
narrow.
What main tank plays Roadhog anyway, except hydration? That's not an argument because
I mean-
all teams have just like
Well, we
got
haven't even
one of their
seen-
legs cut off.
We haven't even seen the Valiant play good Sombra comps.
No, they haven't played.
No,
good.
Why are we
like, they
talking
haven't
about
played any
Sombra?
of that.
Because teams are gonna play some
Teams
Sombra
can
dive
play
at some
fucking
point during this
Roadhog at
playoffs.
5
They are
positions,
definitely.
you dumbass.
Do you know
Teams are
what
going to
team-
play shit outside of Roadhog.
Do you know what they're
are
gonna play
talking
as well?
about?
Tracer
It's
Ash.
Roadhog.
Tracer
You know what they're going to play
Ash.
as well? Tracer Ash. Who was one of the best teams in the world at Tracer Ash? Valiant.
Like how many weeks ago is that now?
It doesn't matter. They're still very good at it. I think
I don't think
the
we'll see
most
Tracer
likely
Ash.
pick here is the Outlaws based on just the rest of the teams that they're going to be up against here.
Maybe
yeah,
Atlanta. Atlanta have kind of sucked all season.
Atlanta,
Yeah, Atlanta.
Outlaws. This will be
If
the
you
hardest
want-
one to get right.
Yeah, if you want like a guaranteed win over a
Yeah.
team that has never beaten a top team, why not pick
Atlanta.
Atlanta? Atlanta have no upset potential against top teams. They just
Yeah.
never bring it in those big games.
Yeah. So let's say they pick
They
Atlanta.
actually got close recently, though, right? Didn't they take
Shock
somebody to 5? They
maps.
took Shock to
They did
5.
the shot to 5.
We're
Yeah,
trying to
so,
be
I mean,
perfect, Matt. Don't just come in with this willy-nilly attitude.
Well, I made a valid argument for the Valiant. Me and Josh talked a while at the last episode how when we were doing the power rankings, so the Valiant haven't looked that great like in a very long time.
But I
they've
think
been
they
kind
could
of
meta.
mediocre, just beating up on bad NA teams.
But also, how are you going to pick the Valiant when you've never seen them play a match at this point? They're not.
I mean,
they're
you'd be
probably not
going
going to be
off of-
scrimming the top
You'd be
teams.
going off of what you know in terms of scrims.
But you're not going to be scrimming against them, surely. If I'm the Valiant, there is no way I'm scrimming against the top 4 teams.
Yeah, but
of which
you-
one of them could pick me. I
But
am
you
never
hear,
doing that.
But you hear what other teams are playing, and you hear from other people how they look and whatnot.
Yeah, but are you that confident if you haven't played them yourself to go out and pick them? I don't personally think so.
So let's say they pick the Outlaws.
I
Like
think
that
they
would
would
be
pick
the
Atlanta.
next team. They would. Oh, you think they would pick Atlanta?
I think so too.
I think so.
They
Yeah.
haven't
I mean, I
lost.
guess you would be kind of worried about the Outlaws if they had beaten Boston and then let's say either and then probably beat like Dallas.
I mean,
guess
I don't know whether you would be that worried
about.
about them.
I
They
mean,
beat
probably not, but,
Boston
like,
round 1.
All right, let's think about this
dude,
logically.
they're fucking beating everybody.
Let's think about this logically. If we go back to the
Yeah.
bracket, who are the teams that they would have game tape on?
The
Because-
Outlaws, everybody,
yeah,
right?
they'd
They
have
both
quite a lot
Valiant.
on Outlaws,
On the
but they'd have
Everybody
game
but
tape on
Valiant.
everyone.
I think out of all those teams, based on the game tape of what we'd expect on who would have the cleanest game, the Atlanta Reign would be my bet for a team that would have the least clean game in the previous rounds.
Oh, if Atlanta lost the game or two to Washington, Philly, you're picking Atlanta.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Atlanta Reign would be the go-to here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like
let's talk
as
in
well,
Atlanta there.
you gotta consider, like, if Philly were gonna pick one of the Texan teams, you can't be really sure who's gonna win. So
Yeah.
you don't really want to.
Atlanta Reign.
So let's say
you're not gonna make
Atlanta.
any prep.
Kurt, we're gonna get you that $100,000.
Yep, it's a
Yeah.
guarantee, Kurt. Pretty much.
We're gonna get you that.
Dallas. Well, no,
Wait,
sorry. The
what?
Shock. Sorry, I was looking at my own bracket. I was
Yeah,
losing my
Shock
mind.
is
Florida.
next. Yeah,
The
they're the higher
Shock are
seed.
next.
yeah, the Shock are next. They're the
Florida.
higher seed.
No, we're not doing Florida. We're doing Shock.
San Francisco picks next because they're
Oh.
the 2 seed.
Oh, they are.
Yep.
Oh, I fucked up my bracket.
Wait, what? Did you think Florida was the 2 seed?
I just went down in the list. I didn't think
And we're
about it.
listening to Bren.
Oh,
Do they pick the Outlaws?
I think Shock pick
Yeah.
Outlaws here.
it's the
Yeah.
logical choice, right?
Who does the Paris Eternal pick?
Um,
Because I don't think either of these are great matches for the Paris Eternal.
Probably Valiant.
yeah, I would say Valiant.
I don't think teams are going to want to play against Gladiators, but
Yeah,
maybe
I
that's
agree.
maybe that's just my raw hope for them being a dark horse team. I mean, if the Gladiators look
Well,
shit, they will get picked, but I'm
I
hoping
think,
they'll look good.
I think when we get to this round, right, I think Philly definitely takes care of business with Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is I think it's the Shock, obviously, move on. I think there's a genuine argument for the Gladiators to beat the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, there is one. Yeah.
I think with the way Birdring has been playing, I think Kebser has been playing well as of late. And then Florida is another one of those teams that we were talking about last week, which kind of hasn't beaten a really good team in a while. We have seen way higher highs from the Florida Mayhem, though, than we have from the Gladiators. That's the only scary part.
BQB as well. I mean, we talk about Birdring being really
He's
good.
a good
but
widow.
BQB's also been pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I mean, wasn't it when they were playing against Mayhem? Oh, all of the games from the regular season are just blended into one in my brain. Wasn't the one where Birdring absolutely popped off? That was in the loss to the Florida Mayhem, wasn't
Yes.
it?
And that was
Birdring
close.
just annihilated BQB.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a 1-3 loss, but it was like they could have won.
It could have been a
won
win. If
themselves.
anyone else would have played good for the Gladiators, it was probably a 3-1 win the other way.
Why are
Oh, do we want to take the risk?
Why are we so high up on the Gladiators here?
I'm not high.
They have been
on them.
playing well recently.
Well, no, they haven't. They've been making some horrible mistakes as well. They've been throwing
that's
maps
true, yeah.
left,
In
right,
the
and center.
pocket
I
of
don't
the
Yeah,
think
they
this
did
is,
for
map.
the series, yeah.
I don't know if it's as high on the Gladiators as more of, I think this is a kind of coin flip between two teams in similar positions. Florida's had a better overall season.
When you're predicting a bracket,
But-
you got to make some tactical upset
Yeah.
choices
Right.
because the favorites don't win the whole way through, for sure.
That's not how logic works.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is. That's perfectly logical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logic is that some illogical shit is gonna happen.
So here's something interesting though. The Gladiators, they 3-0 Dallas, they 3-0 Boston. They lose that close series to the Mayhem, which we thought could go like either way, right? And then they beat Atlanta, and then they beat the Valiant. So they finished the season winning what 4 out of 5, and one of them being close.
Yeah. I think there's a.
This is the best they played this year so far. Right
I feel
now,
like we're going to
this
look
time.
back at this, and this is going to be the game that lost Kurt that $100,000.
I don't
It
think
won't
so,
be.
though.
It won't
I don't
be.
think
This
so.
is this is an upset. It's not logical to pick it, but
It could happen.
it could happen.
For what it's worth, I picked Florida. For what it's worth, but I'm not gonna argue because this is Plat chat, not GM
I want
chat.
Florida as well. Do we leave it up to Kurt?
Now the
No.
last 2 times they played on the 2nd of August, and the Mayhem won 3-1, and then they just played the game we just saw on the 21st, and they beat the Gladiators 3-1.
All right, you know what? I'm going to crumble to peer pressure from Jonathan and Bren. Let's go for the Mayhem. I feel like this
will
is...
be the one.
No,
that
I think
screws us
no.
up.
I think we'll let Kurt decide.
No, Johnny.
Why do we let Kurt
No.
decide?
No,
Kurt,
it's all right.
wait, on.
You want this to be GM chat? It can be GM chat.
Does
We can-
Kurt, does
we can
Kurt
bow to your superior knowledge.
Yeah, Johnny never wants to make a hot take in case Reddit gets angry.
No, I think Kurt should decide in case he wants to live dangerously. It's his bracket. He gets to decide the spice of life.
Listen,
Kurt
boys,
still have his mic?
listen. Why do we not ask a player who's played for both of these teams?
Oh, true. How stupid of me.
You've played alongside players on both of these squads.
True.
What do you truly think here? We'll give you the final answer.
I think the Gladiators have a lot of upset potential, but at the end of the day, they are just going to boom themselves out of the bracket. They're not going to do it. Yeah, when you put it like that, my time spent with the Gladiators, I didn't. When I was sat in on scrims with them, I didn't see a single scrim that I thought was really good. And whereas the Florida Mayhem, in all the scrims that I sat in with the Florida Mayhem, not a single one was bad. So,
yeah,
night and day, honestly.
Okay. All right. Florida it is.
It's Florida.
Paris versus Valiant.
This is another spicy one.
Scrub lords out of here. I am sick of people rating the Valiant highly.
It's got to be Paris, right? Yeah.
Nothing with their rookie team.
Hold on, are you just saying this because you have to shave the logo in your head?
Yeah.
Yes, because I have been talking all day with the Valiant people and they're just gloating at me and telling me to shave the logo into their head. And it's getting under my skin. I am rooting heavily against the Valiant in these playoffs. I want them to get boomed here. Personally, I would love it if KSP put up outrageous performances because, UK lads, fellow 3 heads, and the rest of the team just got pooped on. I'm rooting heavily against them because they ruined my head.
Paris, but only because I'm a big fan of France.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. France, the country. I thought you meant Fran, the streamer. I was like, what?
Paris wins that.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah,
put the Valiant down. Yep, Paris wins.
Let's go. Paris through.
Lower bracket.
I think the Gladiators handle Atlanta. Yes, no?
Yes.
Is this just going to be more disappointment from the Gladiators? I think I can smell.
No. It's the Atlanta rain. It's the Atlanta rain. They haven't beaten a top team, Sideshow. Listen to me. You've been hating this team all season. Do not crumble now.
Look,
commit to your bias through the entire season. They will get boomed.
Picked Atlanta always, and they have always let us down.
That's true.
If there's a way Kurt goes down, I don't want it to go down the way we knew it was gonna go down by doing it the last 5 times.
That's true.
It has to be the Gladiators. Get Atlanta out of here.
Totally agree. All right.
Houston
Are you ready for some spice as the Houston Outlaws knock out the Valiant?
No.
Shut the fuck up.
Are you ready for some spice as Dante just takes control of this map and Hydration's Roadhog just sends Gig into the drink repeatedly?
No, it's not going to happen. Sorry, as much as you don't want to shave this logo into your head, Valiant have been way more consistent over the course of the season.
Hold on. But I think
it's not about consistency. It's about booming people when it matters.
Here's the argument for that. When does this game take place?
In the playoffs.
Shut your mouth.
There's a date, though.
What's the date? This is
Oh, yeah. It's on Custer's birthday. What are you talking about? What does it matter what date it is?
Because if it's like the first weekend, right? Like there won't be a lot of time to like adjust what's happening.
Yeah, okay. They've never beaten the Valiant all season long, but listen, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, they're gonna turn up for playoffs because that's what Houston Outlaws always do. Wait a second.
No, we gotta take the Valiant here. After seeing all those stats, you gotta take the Valiant.
Yeah, I can't make an argument for it. I tried.
We gotta win Kurt the money.
Okay. All right. You know, when Hydration comes out on the Roadhog and just slaps the Valiant around, don't come crying to me asking for $100,000.
Philly, Florida.
Philly.
Yeah. Has to be Philadelphia, I think.
And then the shock over Paris.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Philly over the shock.
Yeah. I
And
like
then
for
it.
the
the
grand
shock to make
final.
the salty run
Hold
back.
on, hold on.
What?
no,
Hold
wait,
on, hold on.
you
You're
gotta
getting
do the
way
load back.
ahead of
Yeah.
yourself.
Doesn't matter which you do first.
Kurt has to go to
does.
bed. Click the buttons.
Wait, hold on.
Shock.
Billy over shock.
Shock.
Yeah,
Shock all the way.
I agree.
Philly over
Shock all
shock.
the way. No,
You
shock
got-
all the way.
It's not gonna. There's gonna be some big upsets.
Yeah.
Shock lost to Atlanta last year. Shock just
They
lost to
Atlanta,
Philadelphia.
They just got 3-0'd by them in what
If
could
it's-
be similar circumstances.
Shock only have one off tank. Philly have two. Therefore, going to be better at Hogs area.
I
Philly
am.
have a Sombra player in Hisu. So if it's Sombra dive, Philly should look better.
I have it under
Philly's
good
been consistent
authority.
over the whole year.
I have it under good authority that Super has been practicing as Roadhog in matchmaking because I've been watching
Yeah,
his
he's
stream.
been streaming it. Yeah,
Sure. That is great authority.
yeah.
Now-
You guys don't
sick
put enough
fucking-
respect on
sick
Krusty's
insight.
name.
I'm not. Here's the thing, though, Johnny. I'm the biggest Shock fanboy that you will find in a room, arguably. But they haven't looked as driven.
It's the
Compared to Philly.
playoffs now.
Yeah,
And
they're not-
I mean, maybe this is a bad argument, but I think the Shock have already got that title win. This, even if they won't
that's
admit
in
it to
line with
themselves,
most of your arguments. So.
even if they won't admit it to themselves, this will mean just that little bit less compared to how it means to Philly.
And I think if you're the Shock, every time like you get a little bit of a wake up call. Like a loss here to Philly doesn't mean they don't make it.
Exactly. That's my way of selling this,
Yeah.
Johnny. This is Philadelphia is going to disappoint us all even more because they're going to look like the best team in NA and then they're going to flop in the grand finals. This is going to be peak Philadelphia. It is. I can feel it in my bones. It's going to be peak Philly. They're going to look fantastic coming into the grand finals. They're going to fail to adapt, whereas Shock will adapt in the grand finals.
You
they're
don't
not going to be able
understand.
to make it.
Nothing matters. Nothing matters besides the fact that Philly 3-0'd Shock previously, and Shock have so much fire that they're actually burning their ass off. Like they're going to be
How
so
do you know
fueled up
they
for
have
this game.
fire?
Hello, Mr. Social Media. Did you see what the players tweeted against each other between the two franchises after Fusion actually
That was
beat
like
the
a
Shock
month.
3-0?
It'd be like a month.
That was
between
a
the
while
games.
ago.
Yeah.
Are you a monk? How quickly do you get rid of animosity between players?
Yeah, the players
Like a month?
they find somebody new to be angry at every 2 days.
If you
Have you
don't
ever
think
been a
these Shock
player?
players are going to be fired up to get their revenge here against the Fusion after getting 3-0'd,
Okay, but Johnny, they went to 5 maps against the Atlanta Reign in their final game of the
Yeah.
regular season. I mean, I know that didn't matter at all,
Oh
so
my
it's utter
God.
nonsense to even bring
I
it
gotta-
up. But it's
I
not
gotta
like
agree
they
with
did
Johnny.
have a fire lit under their asses.
I got.
I'm telling you, Johnny, I can feel it in my bones. This is Kurt's $100,000 on the line. Philly are going to
Philly's
I
gonna
gotta
win
agree
that
with
game.
Johnny. I gotta agree with Johnny. I think the Shock are gonna come back fired up off the back of this. These
Well,
defeats. If they
No,
end up
this is the
matching,
game that's going to
Yeah.
fire them up.
Yes, this is the game like Atlanta. Yeah.
This
like
is the
Atlanta
loss.
last year, this is the game that propels them onward.
we'll
Like a
leave it to-
loss here allows the Shock to win the whole thing.
Is this one where we have to leave it to
Do we
Kurt?
leave it to Kurt? Does Kurt have his mic?
Philly versus Shock.
Yeah, but you're supposed to get this money for me, guys. I'm not supposed to. You're supposed to do this for me.
Well, Kurt, who do you trust? Do you trust me and Josh or
I-
Bren?
Only trust if you guys come to an agreement.
Oh my god, you're the worst. You're like a fucking democracy. we have to come to an
Okay.
agreement and not just shout at each other.
I will
Ugh.
concede.
All right, there it is.
I
Oh,
concede
wow.
my
Moved
vote.
on.
The weak-willed has
It's
been.
not that I'm
Well,
weak-willed.
Brennan.
It's that I have so much faith in the Shock that even if they lose this, they will still come back and be a super team.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're going to get in. Yeah, they're going to get in.
They're gonna beat
I'll
teams in the
concede.
grand finals.
Yeah. Okay.
Just not here. Yeah.
All right, Philly. Philly it is. I feel like I feel like a Republican voting
Can the
against this.
Gladiators? Gladiators beat the Paris Eternal?
Is that what we're on?
All right. Wait,
Yes.
let's think for a moment about what Paris is going to be like in these metas, and because
I'm not as confident in Paris as you guys are.
Neither am I. I am not confident in Paris either. I
Paris has
think
been
they'll
a top
rely a lot
3
on
team.
XG and shit, but
They have, but
and XC's been very good all season long. I
And
mean,
Hanbin.
is there an argument to be made that XC has been the best hit scan player in North America? I mean, he's been playing different stuff. He's been
Ans?
playing the McCree
Definitely
and
an
stuff.
argument.
Ans? Hello? Ans?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ans has been insane actually. But yeah. I mean, XC had more impact when they went head to head in the Summer Showdown. But yeah, I mean, overall, definitely Ans has done more.
I
mean, arguably KSP's
I
done
think
more.
that Paris's
KSP's been insane.
inflexibility is going to hamper them here more than most.
Yeah.
I still,
Yeah.
I agree with Bren.
but I still like Paris.
But there's gonna be a game where it catches up to them and they take a loss when they wouldn't have expected it. Maybe a loss to the Shock and then a quick turnaround and a
I
game
think
against
they
the
beat-
Gladiators. Is
I
it.
think they beat Gladiators. I think we
I
are.
think so too.
I would be very surprised if they lost to Gladiators.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Well,
But
well-
I definitely think that they've got some inflexibility and it's going to showcase itself. It's going to rear its ugly head. In this
I mean, let's
next-
think
Florida
about
beat
it
the
like
Valiant.
on the wait. Let's think about Paris based on the metas. Like if it's a double off tank meta, I mean they don't have another off tank, but I don't know about the more. I feel more confident. I don't know whether you guys agree with this, but I feel more confident in the main tanks who are just incredibly mechanically skilled to transfer over to other heroes, like if required. You know,
Yeah.
people like Gesture or whatever, I've seen them play other heroes and they are mechanically gifted. at those
Roadhog
ones
and
as well.
whatnot,
They
yeah.
have played Roadhog and stuff in the past. Whereas Ben Bess and No Smite,
Yeah.
I don't think
Like,
they're
imagine-
good all-round
But
players.
I don't
They're
have
good at
faith in OG either.
main tanks. No, I don't know whether OG is going to be great at that. either, no.
I think OG has a better chance than like No Smite or Ben Best.
OG is very mechanically gifted. I just don't know whether
Yeah.
that extends outside of main tank.
That's the thing. I'm gonna make a wild assumption based on no evidence that it doesn't. And I
But
also
you
think
think
that I don't
that
know even
Ben
on a new
Best or-
role how his synergy will be like with space, which
But
has
you
been
think
a big
like
problem
Ben
this
Best
season.
or No Smite have a better chance of picking it up than OG?
Probably, yeah.
Fuck knows. I would be surprised if either team was playing very much
Yeah.
more on Zarya, though. 'cause it's
Yeah,
just-
they might both just play Winston.
They'll
and
probably
just
play
leave it at that.
Winston. They'll
yeah.
probably play Winston stuff.
And then you
I
actually
would-
look at the Paris Eternal, and they've got pretty flexible
I would
DPS. It's not the
trust-
best DPS in the world, but they can play double hit scan. They can play
Okay.
the Sombra on
a
multiple
lot of
people.
if
Sunak should
Sombra-
probably-
If Sombra is the thing that they're going to be defaulting to, I would give it to the team that is currently being coached by Rush.
Yeah. I mean, Paris haven't looked amazing at the Sombra comps, though.
No.
Even though in theory that should work, they've looked all right at them. Nico and Sparkle have looked pretty good, but they haven't looked amazing.
I just think that they just beat Gladiators over most
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
universes that we could look
Uh,
into. Florida Valiant.
Probably Florida.
I mean,
Yeah.
Interestingly, I think Florida have lost all of the head-to-heads this season against the Valiant.
No,
Really?
Yep.
Have
They
they?
have lost 2 head-to-heads, 1-3 and 2-3. The 2-3 was
Huh.
very recent. It was when the Valiant won the reverse sweep. You know, when Mayhem should
yeah.
have easily won, and they just let KSP
Yeah.
hit those shots at the end of
Yeah.
like Havana and Clutch Out and Volskaya and stuff. I think Mayhem have been the better team this season, but at the same time,
Well, do we think these
They
teams are
haven't
going
done well
to
in
be
the head-to-head.
clashing with Tracer Ash because they're playing towards their strengths?
I
Do we
can see
think they're
that.
going to mirror?
I think you'll have like if this is the second week of the playoffs, you'll have some kind of set meta by here.
I could
Yeah.
also see maybe Yaki, Sombra,
yeah, Yaki's been playing some Sombra.
and Faith, Winston go aggro.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would,
gonna go with the Mayhem.
I would be.
I
inclined
like
for
the Mayhem tank
Mayhem.
line.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm worried about Faith though. If Faith has to flex, I mean,
N-
he is the reason main tanks have a bad aim reputation.
Really?
I mean, his sensitivity is like 20 in game and like 800 DPI. It's like,
Oh, wow.
it's wild. It's like some Huxel stuff.
Oh, that's
But
fine.
he's
Just
playing
lower it a
Winston.
little bit. All he's gotta do is throw some hooks out there. He'll be fine.
I mean, I think, yeah. I don't know.
Paris versus Florida.
Is this where Paris gets got?
Maybe.
I don't want to believe.
Well,
I think
mean,
Paris
you picked
just want to
Paris
meet
to win it
Fielder.
all.
Don't want to believe.
I think Paris will win this one because I think they'll be so incredibly motivated this tournament. I think their team synergy is just on point. I just like Paris Eternal, great coaching staff.
I mean, we're essentially picking who gets to lose to the Shock, right?
But here's the thing.
You
Are
think
we?
Paris beat the Shock?
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Are
Bren.
we?
Okay, we're predicting Paris to win for.
Okay, yeah, let's go with Paris.
Yeah.
I could definitely see a world in
Paris,
which
okay.
Paris don't make it this far if the meta just doesn't suit them, but I think it's.
I think if there was a team that
Anything
screwed
could
this
happen.
bracket, it would be Paris.
All right. Let's. Okay.
If there's a
Paris.
team that's going to screw this bracket, it's going to be like fucking Justice in round 1.
Yeah.
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah.
How does the
Paris.
payout work? Is the 100k divided among the winners, or is it per bracket?
It's all for
mean?
Kurt.
No, I'm saying like if there's multiple winners overall in the world.
There's
Oh,
no way there's going to be
I'm not-
multiple. There's not
yeah.
even going to be one. If Kurt doesn't get it, no one's
No,
gonna
because
get
we've
it.
seen tournaments be super predictable, okay? Like, we often like to meme about the fact that there's upsets, there's always like the unpredictable match. What happens, right? World first, most of the matches go as expected, and then say, let's keep it anyway reasonable. Let's say like 27 people predicted the correct bracket. That's still 27 people. 27 out of thousands of people, okay?
Not a
What are you
chance,
talking
bro.
about? Do you know
I'm
how
just-
even if the favorites won every single time, you still have to pick who the teams pick? It's insane. It's impossible.
Yeah. No,
Alright,
yeah,
so
okay, so let's
COD
say it's 7. Okay, let's say it's 7 people who predicted. Let's say it's a very reasonable bracket. Like, everything turns out fairly reasonable. 7 people predicted correctly. Does Owl give out 700k, or do they divide 100k divided
No,
I
they
don't
would
know,
divide
man.
the
But
100K,
also-
yeah.
Okay, so my bracket is going for like the $22 stimulus check.
But also,
yeah.
but also, you have
Yeah.
to predict the final score of the final
Yes.
Oh,
two
yeah.
teams.
And that was pretty
Yep.
easy.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
COD bracket.
I did find that pretty easy
The
actually.
COD bracket, you had to pick the who won and the score line for every match, and if you got all of that correct, you won the whole thing.
Did anyone win?
No, the guy. So if you get first, if you have the most points, you get first. You do get 10K.
I see.
So somebody did get 120 points. Where he had like let's see, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Are
He
we
had
hiring
7
him
matches,
as a? Are we gonna hire him as a consultant?
He had 7 matches correct with the map score correct as well.
Huh. Well, how does this help us?
I think we're just putting into context how hard it is to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we think of this game, though? Paris
Shock.
Paris versus Shock.
Shock.
I think there's no way the Shock lose to Philly and then lose again to Paris. There's no way.
Well, I mean, that might actually be the case. If you lose one match and then you're boomed, and then you lose one more time because Paris is fueled up from beating Florida and Gladiator.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember the last year when the Shock lost and they went down to the lower bracket
Yeah.
and they actually
poor.
looked really bad in that first lower bracket game?
Yeah.
But they were playing against who were they even playing against? Was it London or something? And they just rolled them over. It was like super sloppy. It was all over the place. And then the Shock tightened it up as they went through the lower bracket.
Yeah.
Who was that? I'm gonna look that up.
I
actually.
think I think you'd be so deep in the tournament though.
Bro,
yeah, I mean, you've got to have.
This is where
I'm going
I
for the
could see
Shock.
Paris.
I could
Just-
definitely see Paris, but I agree with you.
We're gonna genuinely make a bracket that doesn't have the Shock making
Yeah.
finals. That's
No, because I had Shock beating Fusion. Excuse me.
But now that you had the Shock beat the
Different
Fusion.
circumstances. Yeah.
True.
All
I
right,
mean,
well, that's the NA
yeah,
bracket
yeah.
done.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do we think about Asia?
All right, here we
Because
go.
we're starting off with an absolute slapper. Chengdu versus London.
Give me the Hunters.
Yeah, I'm all
I
about the
was
Hunters.
considering London, but
I'm all
No,
about the
really.
Hunters here.
Chengdu has every advantage in the book.
Yeah, London have looked pretty bad recently.
Yeah, Chengdu's look pretty decent. Now I think this comes where we have an argument. Who the fuck does New York pick?
Chengdu.
I have them picking the Hunters.
I have them picking Seoul. Because I think that Seoul, at least, you know what you're getting.
Nah, bro. You
don't
lose
really,
it.
though.
No, if you lose this, you don't even make it to the double limb. You
I
are
know,
taking
it's
the
actually
Hunters.
quite brutal.
Here's the other thing as well is you talk about New York being the kind of team to get upset by Chengdu because New York always try and react, they play slow, yada, yada, yada. They won't. They'll just mirror whatever Chengdu are running. That's what they've been doing this season. They've been playing a lot more ball kind of stuff. If there is some kind of, if the meta was genuinely some ball hog or ball Zarya kind of thing, and Chengdu looked great, New York would be another really dangerous team because that's what they've looked at some of their best. Like that's when they actually are forced to play high tempo and they look really good playing it. Mano's ball looked really dangerous, and then you got Hopper on the Zarya.
Mono can also play Roadhog. I also think if there was some kind of off tank who could also flex to something like a ball and be all right, it would be Hotba.
Yep.
Hotba could do
Hopper
weird
definitely
shit like
can,
that, right?
Hopper can play Roadhog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he also can give you some type of main tank look as well, I think. So
Who, Hopper?
yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he has played Winston and Orisa in the past, I think.
Right.
Ever.
But
Chengdu.
This is just me.
I'm down for the Chengdu pick though.
Yeah.
I kind of vibe with it, Bren, because I think they would be fairly comfortable mirroring them and just trying to beat them.
And they set up Soul to play Spark and get one of them out of there.
I don't know. I feel like they would be fine either way, to be honest. I don't think it's too much of a...
I think they win regardless.
I think you're almost better off picking Chengdu because you've seen them play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is
you
all.
have tape on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, because you probably... I mean, the thing is, the APAC scene is so small, they've got to be scrimming against each other.
They have to know what they look like, right?
I don't
in
think
North
so.
America, you can avoid your opponents, but in APAC,
I don't think
mean,
so.
who are you
You'll
scrimming
just play,
against?
you'll play against like a Korean
Contenders?
contenders or...
The whole time?
No,
Or they
you
run up to
gotta
the
scream a
play-
lot about
No.
teams. You
You
gotta
might,
scream a lot
but
about
I
teams.
reckon a lot of teams might be avoiding Chengdu and London to a degree, or...
London is definitely the team you're like trying shit out against.
Yeah,
you're like,
you
hey,
want to scrim like
yeah.
I mean, having
It's the
said that,
warm-up scrim.
yeah, that's the warm-up scrim, but it also doesn't really teach you anything. If it works, you're like, well, I still don't know whether this is going to work against a good team.
Baby steps, baby steps.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is hard, but I'm fine with Chengdu.
Yeah. I have New York beating the Hunters. I think the Hunters is a nice story. I know people are going to be angry we didn't pick the Hunters, but I think
This
New York
is where
beats
Bren
Chengdu.
starts rioting.
My perfect storyline is the Hunters making it and going all the way to the lower bracket and beating Seoul or losing to Seoul. I think I can't remember what I had, but I just a nice run from the Hunters would go.
I just don't think it's happening.
I don't think it's
It
happening.
would go
Nothing
down
about-
nicely.
Nothing about the meta
I
that
don't
we've
think-
learned so far, both in North America and in Asia, has any indication that ball is an
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
feature of it.
All right,
Like
let's go New York.
Double off tanks, all sorts of shit.
Let's go New
Maybe
York.
Chengdu will dominate, but I don't
This
think
is
it's
where
likely.
I think we'll have an argument. I
Get
think
the Spark out of here.
Yeah.
what? I think the Spark beat the Soul Dynasty.
Spark
Why?
are notoriously bad at adjusting to new metas. This
Nah.
should be like the worst time to be
Dude,
a
you
Spark
guys are
player.
drinking the Soul Kool-Aid again.
I will
bro, I'm
say,
telling you, it's gonna come back.
QQ.
It's gonna come back
No.
to kill Kurt's bracket. I'm
No,
telling you,
no,
this
no,
team
no.
right here. Yup.
Hangzhou have not. This is actually one of those picks where I'm quite confident in that Seoul would beat them because Hangzhou would just, I think.
By the way, Seoul have lost to them 3 times within
Yes.
the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that means that this is the time that they beat them.
Yes,
No.
true.
Yes.
That's some 2.5 head analysis. Just like, well,
Yeah.
based on previous meetings, Hangzhou Spark has beaten Seoul 3 times the past 29 weeks. Therefore, the conclusion is that Hangzhou are going to beat Seoul again. Like,
And they just made the finals of the Countdown Cup, the Hangzhou Spark.
No, but that's in a meta that they've had time to play and
But they beat
look
this
at and get better.
Yeah.
Beating this team in multiple metas.
But no, they haven't really. I mean, what is their season record against Seoul? They've lost to them.
I do not have hope for them.
They've lost to them 0-3 twice. So they are up. Okay, they're up 4-2 over Seoul over the course of the season. So yeah, they have. But at the same time, the whole course of this season, when it comes to hero pools, has borne true for the Spark, where they have not adjusted well. They finished well in the season, but they didn't adjust well over the course of the season in total.
There's no way. There's no data that backs up Seoul will beat Hangzhou. There's nothing.
No data. What is your data? The schedule on the Overwatch League website. Is that the extent of your analysis, Matt?
I've seen them beat them 4 times. Yeah.
I don't think that the Spark will learn the meta fast.
I don't think they do it.
This is the game.
What meta does Spark win in?
I do not want the throne.
They'll win in a Winston meta.
I mean, yeah, some kind of Winston Sombra meta. They did just beat them.
Winston, yeah. They'll beat them. Yeah, they will beat them in Winston Zarya with a Sombra. We've already seen that.
But what we're hearing from APAC, like Nero isn't screaming about the APAC meta being crazy because people are playing the same shit that they've been playing for the last few weeks. Can you imagine how much of a troll that would be? Nero's like, oh my god, APAC meta's crazy. It's the exact same thing we've been playing for a month. Clearly there is. Even if you have no inside knowledge, clearly the meta is very different to what we've seen so far in the past few weeks. So the Spark are going to have to adapt to it. And I don't know whether they will.
Here's the secret weapon. Here's the secret weapon. To you.
Fucking hell, man.
Sorry, what did you just say?
To you.
Bren, do you even know who To You is?
Is that the coach who was the coach of the 2018 Shanghai Dragons?
Actually amazing. I love it. I love it. No, guess again.
I don't know.
You know, yeah. This should be a little game show that we have.
I'm telling you, if it's gonna be the Winston Zarya with the Sombra,
Matt's checked out as well. He has no idea who To You is.
No.
The Soul Dynasty app.
Yeah, Matt has his fucking Liquipedia page up because we harassed Bren for 15 seconds. It says signature heroes, Zarya. So, get a clue.
When did they sign it?
I had a YouTube video of Inside the NBA talking about the Heat just beating the Bucks.
When did they sign it? When did they sign it?
It was
he was like, a 2A player like a few weeks ago, right?
No, it was like
before the Counter Cup.
Yeah, it was like the day before the rosters locked.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
They've been playing with him as well.
Yeah, they played him in the Counter Cup like 3 weeks.
No, they haven't.
He looked okay.
No, they
haven't. Any
haven't.
of Soul's 3 games against London because he played in every single one of them.
Wait, you think I was watching their games against London?
This is so good because this would unironically be a really good troll towards Bren. I was like making up a player like To You.
And his brother, Me Too. He's in the other team as well. No, he's played 5 matches, Bren. He's played 5 matches. I'm looking at it right now.
He doesn't exist.
I'm looking at his history right now. He has played 5
You're going to listen to Bren's opinion that Soul would be better in this meta without even knowing who's playing for them.
Mate,
he's literally got no clue who's even in the roster.
No, you're wrong. He doesn't exist. You're trolling me.
He's a rookie like Krong.
No way.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's a rookie off tank, so he is very much like Krong.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, who's QOQ?
He's
no.
He's on Hangzhou. QOQ is on Hangzhou. I know that.
No.
Yeah.
But the Soul, I think you're lying.
No, not lying. Not
Why?
lying. Here, Kurt, while the others are away, pick the Soul Dynasty.
I'm down for Soul. I like the sound of this U2 kid.
Nice.
As a producer of the show, fluidly picking stuff, I'm very confident, and whenever he's explaining something, I am not confident at all.
Kurt, I'm right. Kurt, you are going to lose money by letting somebody who doesn't know the roster for a team tell you they're gonna win. Bren literally
He's not going
couldn't
to
tell
lose
you.
money. We're not
Yeah.
charging him for this consultancy fee. He doesn't have to pay.
Bren couldn't even tell you who's played for them in the last 5 games. He hasn't seen them play in 2 months, pretty much. And he's like, oh, yeah, they're going to fucking roll them. And the team that I'm arguing for has already beaten this team 4 times.
I still think
Yeah,
Soul
but-
take it, man.
Oh, my
Kurt,
God. Just
decide.
Papige. Kurt, what do you think?
Oh, he's
I
already
trust
decided.
Johnny
He
on
picked
this
Zolt.
one. What does Johnny have to say?
What?
What does Johnny have to say?
No, I said Kurt decide.
Well, he's
So
asking
it's,
for your opinion.
Yeah. You're his phone
Oh.
a friend.
I would personally pick Soul Dynasty if I wanted $100,000.
Hell yeah.
All right, there you go.
Unbelievable.
So you
Hell
two's a rookie?
You too.
He was too
You too.
You too. His name's To You.
To you.
Oh, shit.
T-O-Y. Wait. Whoa. My brain
You.
just exploded. T-O-Y-O-U.
T-O-Y-O-U.
O-U.
He was on their academy team, I think. Yeah.
Wait. Oh, my God. This must be this social media break I've been taking.
Yeah, it could be.
It's a break from
Have you watched
watching
the APAC mods?
Yeah.
Dude, I just looked at Gen G there and I was like, wait, you played with like Quinn and Player One?
No! What is happening to this podcast?
You're listening to that?
What the fuck?
Josh thought he thought Shazam was playing for Soul Dynasty. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's like,
Hey, good news! Good news! Sinatra's back in the league, boys. Let's go.
Friends like, yeah, Soul's gonna be great with the 4 duelists, dude, in the fucking playoffs against the Hangzhou Spark. Oh,
All right, let's get through
Is
this.
you two the...
Oh my god.
Is you two the...
It's
I know, I know
To
his
you.
name is To You. I know his name's To You now. But is you... Why am I thinking of you two? Is it because it's like the default music that gets added to iPhones?
yes, and actually,
Oh,
there
yeah.
yeah, it is default music on iTunes, but I don't know why you're. That
Yeah.
has anything
That's
to do
a
with this
band.
player.
Yeah, it's a band. Yeah. Anyway,
All right,
next... What is the
Round
next game?
3.
I don't know.
It would be whoever Shanghai decides to play, which is probably Seoul Dynasty.
Seoul?
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
Yeah. And you just got to have Shanghai here winning.
Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
definitely.
Over that.
I think this is the interesting one, though.
I think New York. So I have New York coming out of this division, this region with Shanghai.
I think that is a very real possibility.
Yes.
I don't know whether I'm just buying into the like, this is the time for New York hype or something.
Well, it's interesting. This is the year where they don't have that many expectations, so maybe there's not as much pressure
God.
as there's been in the past.
It's just not a meta for Haxal, though, is it? It's not a
Yeah.
meta for Haxal. And then what? You're relying on Nene and Sabiolbi or Libero?
Libero?
They haven't turned up this season. I am just buying into the hype. I'm just buying into the hype. There's
they
no
beat-
reason.
They've beaten Guangzhou though a few times this year.
But that's making
think.
good utilization of Haxal, I think. He's generally speaking been the pivotal player in those series. I don't think he actually played very much in the most recent one,
Genji's...
right? Yeah, thank you, Bren. Yes, I know
That's my
Genji's nerf.
analysis for this. Genji's nerf. We should pick Guangzhou.
Yeah, they played. Oh, they did. They played Nene Haxal the whole time in
Yeah.
their 3-2 win over the Guangzhou Charge.
But then they
Hell was
lost
this match.
They lost to them 3-0.
Am
I
I...
reviewed this game on stream and I can't even
Am I
remember it.
dumb? Or does Eileen have a
Yes.
good Roadhog?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with your dumb, but
yeah, I'm gonna go with your dumb.
I can't remember.
Because...
Why are you that high on Guangzhou?
Well, okay, if you think about the metas that we might have, we're probably trending towards some kind of Sombra dive, or if we go the other direction, we're going to have some kind of hit scan in the backlines. You know, like just when it becogs chaos with the Hog Zarya or whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
it's yes, there's some sense of like who's the better hog, but how the fuck are we ever going to know that? So I'm thinking more in line of who's the better sniper, because that could make a huge difference for these playoffs. If we end up playing sniper or sombra, Happy looks pretty good.
That's true.
And I don't know whether I really want to bank on Nene during sombra and sniper comps this year.
What if the supports are like a Zen Mercy, dude? You get Jonak back on the Zen with the pocket.
Yeah. I don't know how. I think we're more likely trending towards Anna Mercy because it's more versatile. I mean, I could see a certain specific niche meta of being Zen Mercy, but I don't think it's gonna. I don't think the personnel on the rest of the team is good enough. I don't think Jonak can hard carry on Zen, even if he can find a way of playing it.
Huh.
I think Happy could win this for the chart.
Well, okay, so here's something.
Is a big difference, man.
Here's something interesting. So let's say Guangzhou wins this one. I think we all would take New York over Seoul.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I didn't, but you guys did.
Really? You predicted Seoul over New York in the lower bracket? You had Seoul getting knocked out by New York.
I don't even know where my bracket was. Sorry, I've tuned out for the past 5 minutes. I need to take a mental rest.
So let's have Guangzhou beat New York here.
Okay. I like it. New York over
beat Seoul.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think so.
I think Seoul's just kind of.
We've got a rematch in the lower bracket final.
Okay, so this is what I was gonna say. Can New York beat them after playing them like right away, like getting a good read on what they want to do, and then kind of adjusting?
No, I don't trust New York to do that. I think Guangzhou is a better team here.
One day between these matches? Yeah, it is.
Potentially, yeah.
It is. It's 1 day between these matches. Do you think they'll be able to get that quick of a turnaround? Because
we have the schedule. We've been sent
4 rounds, so presumably the first 2 rounds are on one weekend, and the next 2 on the other weekend.
Right.
I mean, okay. I mean, if you've looked at the schedule, yeah.
I'm just assuming.
I just don't know if New York is that kind of team, though, that makes that kind of strategical adaptation.
How does that make any sense, Bren? Because NA, we have more rounds. So what happens?
Bro, I literally just assumed. I don't know.
I thought you.
I didn't look at the schedule. I'm just assuming.
He was literally just making it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. You also picked what he just said, Kurt, before, right? And he's just making it up as he goes along. Let's see.
It is absurd that I get paid to fucking talk about Overwatch sometimes.
So we do 12 games in NA.
New York had some really good adaptations against Shanghai the last time they played against them. I remember being very impressed when they had a 1-3 loss and a 0-3 loss to Shanghai, but that 0-3 loss to Shanghai was some of the best Overwatch that I've watched this season. It was really good. Like a lot of counter plays and New York trying to play to their own styles and trying to catch Shanghai off guard and that kind of stuff.
I do remember that match.
So I don't know. The thing is, at the end of the day, if Happy can do it once, why can't he do it twice? If we're saying that Happy could beat New York a first time, what, Nene and Serbiobi are just going to slap him around on the Widowmaker or the Ashe or whatever they're playing?
Yeah.
This time.
No, it's probably not going to happen, is it?
No, it'll probably be
the Happy
win again.
Do Guangzhou have access to Nero? They do, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, he's talking about
time over Eileen and Nero.
I could see some circumstances.
Yeah.
The Nero Hog, maybe?
The Farah.
The Nero.
I always think of Farah when I think of Nero, but I don't think they'll play it.
Nero's Hanzo is better?
Nero's Hanzo.
Hanzo?
Yeah. I don't think it's outside of the question that we go to some kind of double sniper thing. Okay. I don't think that's too crazy.
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, one sniper's good. Maybe 2 is even better.
We've seen that work in the past.
That also could be a boost to Seoul as well.
So that sets us up for the grand finals.
Well, does it? I mean, who are we going with?
I mean, I
think
was going with New York, but yeah, majority's taking Guangzhou. So.
Wait, someone was really upset at me on Reddit for mispronouncing Hangzhou and Guangzhou, and now I can't remember.
Guangzhou
and Hangzhou, yeah.
Guangzhou.
Yeah.
Guangzhou. I always thought it was Xiao for some reason. Guangzhou.
Think about it like a guy called Joe who has a fat cock, so he's Hangzhou. He's like really
Hangzhou.
Yeah. I've never heard anyone explain it like this. But yeah, this makes tons of sense.
That's what I think.
Hangzhou. Hangzhou, yeah.
Hangzhou.
Every
Turn
time
off the T-Mobile logo, quick! Find it out of the shot!
Every time I think about the spark, I think about a guy called Joe who's well hung.
No.
Wyatt's peeking his head around the corner, dying. Oh my god.
That's what I think every time.
Alright, well, Guangzhou.
I'm going with Guangzhou.
The other Joe wins this one, so they go to the finals.
I can't do this anymore.
Guangzhou.
Johnny's just been mentally broken on this podcast for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Grand finals. All right.
Just gets in Discord and just makes like animal noises the entire.
We must.
By the way, if this entire bracket is called the grand finals, what is the final of the grand finals called?
The grand final.
The
Obviously.
champions finals.
Yeah, I mean that would be a sick name. Welcome to the grand finals of the grand finals.
It's just the grand finals.
Or maybe it's just the grand
Why
final.
have they called this the grand finals? Why don't they just call it the final stretch or something?
Well, that's just
The marketing division is gonna be up in arms.
yeah, the marketing division. Let's call it the final stretch. What the fuck does that mean? I don't know.
Final stretch sounds like it was a marathon where you're just dropping. You're about to die of dehydration at the finish line. You're barely stumbling across.
Could you imagine how stupid of a fucking suggestion? Tune into the final stretch this week. What does that even mean?
I think I've seen yoga videos called the final stretch.
Yeah, you do
dehydrating
Overwatch League for the final stretch. At the end of the final stretch, it's the grand final. Like, what is that even?
I don't think it's that bad of a suggestion.
It's a stupid suggestion.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
well, let's predict.
Yeah.
I do wonder. I tell you what, I do wonder. I wonder if part of this negative, the reason I had to quit social media is because all the negative comments were getting to me. I wonder if randomers see you guys just relentlessly cyberbullying me and think that they could join in. I wonder if that's it.
It's
Yeah,
not.
maybe.
No, it's not true. Me and Josh are always nice to you guys.
I mean, people have started just piling on me for Uncle Egg thing. I am just getting so much egg-related punnery sent my way. Like people who really just acting like they're very close to me. Just now that I'm bald, it's invited people to be just much
I
more
love
friendly
that.
and familiar.
That's amazing. You're just acquaintances you met once, and they're just fucking rinsing you for being bold.
Yeah. Some person that I've met once at a homestand will just tweet at me, "All right, bald fuck, how's your day?" Just cool.
Cool.
Well, my day was good until this.
Yeah.
Oh,
What we
All right.
doing?
All right, let's do
We're
it.
making our final predictions before we pass from this mortal coil.
Philly, Guangzhou.
Philly.
Guangzhou.
Guangzhou.
I ride the Philly
Guangzhou.
train.
Guangzhou.
Now this,
Guangzhou.
think about this
Why?
logically. This comes down to, do we think NA has the correct idea of the meta, or do we think Asia will have the correct idea of the meta? Because this affects a lot.
We don't know what the meta is.
Yeah, we're not gonna have a fucking clue.
But it's
Probably Sombra is going to be really good. That's the only take I'm willing to make. Probably Sombra and Snipers are going to be really good.
Yep.
That's it. That's as far as I'm willing to go.
and if that's the case, then I would go for Guangzhou.
All right. I think Philly. Look,
Guangzhou.
Philly. I think we've underrated Philly the whole year. They've been really consistent every meta.
They've sucked ass in big games, apart from, well, no, not in big games. They've sucked ass in some big games at the beginning of the season. They've kind of stepped it up towards the end of the season. They did well in the Summer Showdown.
And if there was an
Countdown Cup.
organization that made sure their players had the best possible scenario going to somewhere to quarantine or whatever, Philly would go all out.
Oh,
for
yeah.
it.
Tucker will just buy a fucking city. You're worried about them not having the resources in quarantine. He'll buy Busan
I don't
and just
think
ship
you
them
can-
off there.
I don't think you can
Anyone who will have-
bypass the government's quarantine mandate.
No. But I'm saying if there was any team that would like prepare the best and obviously go the extra mile to make sure there is. Like,
What you're thinking, like
And
the
again, so would the Shock. The Shock also,
Shock
Andy
would as
Miller's
well,
pockets
yeah.
are deep.
yeah.
If they can one up their opponents by spending in order to set their teams up well for
They will.
They will. Like, we could get into a crazy arms race where Tucker and Andy Miller are just paying for private
PCs and
private cruises to Korea from Los Angeles
come on.
with PCs all set there so that they can quarantine en route.
well, how the fuck would they play?
Yeah, with the internet.
They'd ship out a B team to play with them as well. They'd play with a true LAN on the boat.
Hold on, but they would get to the country and then have to
They could
quarantine
buy
for
the
2 more
Valiant.
weeks.
No, they wouldn't have to quarantine because they would have already quarantined on the boat. It would be only those people.
Do you think this is something interesting? Do you think if these teams from NA, do you think they'd scrim each other while they're in Korea or wherever they are?
No.
No.
Oh well, no, they're on the opposite sides of the. Oh well.
They're on the opposite side.
But you could meet immediately in the lower bracket.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've got, at this point, when there's only 4 teams, you would get more value playing against the Korean contenders teams anyway, because they are probably going to play the same kind of style. And you've just got to treat your North American partner like an opponent.
Are Korean contenders teams even screaming? Like, what do they play
I
for?
don't
Is there a
Yeah.
contender season going on?
I don't know, but if they're not, I mean, we're just lost.
If you had like I'm sure like some of the academy teams probably would work. Like if you're like a Gen G or somebody who's in like the league, you would probably work with like one of these teams to make sure your guys are available.
Let's close this
there is
out
a Korean contender
because
season going on. Now
Kurt
I'm gonna
has
look
got
really
to
bad.
eat more
Yeah.
Pop Tarts. Okay. And also, I kind of want to go to
you
bed.
guys take Guangzhou,
I think
Shanghai-
Guangzhou.
Shanghai.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
They
Philly.
beat the-
Oh, what about this? Philly
Philly beats-
have a Korean academy team. They could just be scrimming against
Oh.
them.
Oh,
They would know
Doing,
what's
like-
going on.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
could get like the inside hookups.
Because what if Guangzhou or somebody like that is scrimming Philly's academy team?
I don't think that's legal. Is it?
What?
What do you mean? Is that legal?
Isn't it like insider information? Like some corporate espionage?
Okay, you're telling me that the Korean teams in Apex never did that when the
Yeah.
EU and NA teams would come over. They absolutely did that. It used to make the French people mauled. I remember Unko and Soon on Twitter getting angry because they would only scrim against one team, and suddenly all the other teams in Korea had their strats.
yeah.
Like that just happens. It happens all the time in League of Legends as well, doesn't it? There was like a famous case of somebody used to send their sister team out to scrim against teams and collect the data and feed it back to their A team. I don't know whether they do shit like that anymore, but also I think T1 have not been doing very well. They're like 0-2 in Korean contenders at the moment. They finished 7th to 8th last season, so maybe they wouldn't even be good practice.
They have an off tank called Sven, which is very entertaining to me.
I think if there was one NA team to win that first round, I think Philly stands a better chance against Guangzhou than Shock against Shanghai, correct?
Yeah.
Unless the meta is like
But
rush comps or
we're in.
hey, you know what? Ants could just
Pop off.
dominate
Yep.
at any point here. And if there is some kind of like heavy leaning towards snipers, Ants could just win this entire tournament for the
Looking
Shock.
at this grand finals bracket, it kind of makes me want to quarantine for
Skip
2 weeks
straight
in a
there.
hotel room.
There you go.
You realize they're not playing at
Yeah.
LAN. They're playing online still.
Yeah,
There's
but I
no
would want
physical
to-
place where you can watch the game.
I would want to celebrate with the winners. You know,
Should we do that? We could do that.
I am down.
Oh, why not? How do we get back to the States?
Ah, fuck.
I'm moving, so I'm
Oh, God, that would be so good, though.
I'm
Philly-
down. I'm not missing out on
not.
it.
Do we have Shanghai over Guangzhou to make the finals?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm personally
Yeah.
predicting Shanghai all the way.
Uh,
I know that it's
Yeah,
unlikely,
me too.
but
And then what about Philly shock this losers run?
God, this is so
this
hard.
is where Shock defeat their opponents that they lost to domestically
Yep.
and knock Philly out of the tournament. This is where they do it.
This is where the storyline happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is where the script writers for the Overwatch League
Then the shock
provide us
beat
with
the-
another
the Shock
disappointment for the
beat
fusion.
the charge.
Yep.
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 And then this
then
one
lose.
goes to 7.
No, it's a
Yeah.
4-0.
No, it's a 3-1.
You said
4-1.
4-0?
4-1.
It's a 4-0. Every final that we've had is just a 4-0.
I went with
There is
I
no
went
way
with
the
a map
Shock get
a map
4-0'd.
7er.
It's a 4-0. I'm telling you, all big finals like this, I don't know, man. They always flop. What was the
but you
score in the
forget-
CDL champs?
That was
5-1.
a blowout. Yeah.
Was it 5-1? I thought it was 4-0.
5-1?
It was
I
the
think.
best of
Oh.
9.
Oh, wow.
You know
I
what's
would-
Well, you
interesting?
forget the one map that Choke actually gets here is because they just boomed the Shanghai Dragons with Super playing Reinhardt on King's Row for one map only, and then they go back to being destroyed.
Yeah. Okay. I
Dude,
can
here-
buy that.
Yeah.
This is a
No, wait,
coin.
Reinhardt's trash.
This is-
What am I talking about? This meta's garbage.
This is a coin
No, it's not
flip.
happening.
This is a coin flip in my mind of either going to be the 4-0 sweep or it's going to go to a map 7 bonanza.
I mean, anything could happen.
Yeah.
I know what people are going to do is just clip this and be like, when the Shock win, they're going to be like, oh, you guys didn't believe in them, you morons. Anyone could win.
Yeah, I'm going to
This
be real
year.
with you. We were at coin flips about 50 predictions ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I was about to say, I was like, if you had because this is what my bracket had, and I'm interested what you guys had to think. If New York were to come out instead of Guangzhou, do you think Philly beats New York?
Huh.
I think they're arguably more favored to beat New York.
I had
The
Philly
issue,
beating.
the trouble
New
is with making
York.
these predictions, guys, as well, though, is that when you're making any prediction, the foundation of which you're making it on is what compositions are they playing and
Right.
are they going to be good at them? And we
Oh, yeah.
don't know what compositions they're playing.
Oh, yeah. Let me let you into a little secret here, Brent. This entire episode is utter nonsense. And if you've made it this far as a viewer, you will already have realized that. We have no idea what the meta is going to be. So all of this,
This is
absolute
good. This is
horseshit.
going off of like gut
No,
and
no, no,
best
no.
guesses and what we've seen through the season.
We're
Yeah,
gonna make
there's a
Kurt
lot of
$100,000.
Yep. Okay. So what is the map score here? Do you want to go with like a in between, like a 4-2 type of thing, not a game 7?
No,
not a
I say we
blowout?
commit 4-0. Commit
think-
4-0.
4-0, dude. That is
4-0 is a bit ridiculous when you think about these two
Alright,
teams.
this has to be correct. Do you think they're gonna sweep the Shock?
I think a sweep is very. Okay, I'm not going to necessarily say that it is definitely going to be Shanghai Shock in the finals and definitely going to be Shanghai winning 4-0, but I think a sweep in the finals is pretty likely because you're either going to set up in a situation. So it's super likely that one region just has a better read on the meta, and so they just beat the other region, right?
Yep.
Doesn't
Yeah.
that seem
Yeah.
super likely? And
Yep.
so
Yeah.
if you do get one region versus another in the finals, it could be a sweep. But even more likely than that, it's probably just going to be an all Korea or an all. I keep saying Korea, but I mean Shanghai are technically a Chinese organization, so is Guangzhou. But it's going to be an all Asian or an all North American final, probably.
Yeah.
So 4-0. That hurts me to my soul.
4-1.
I-
Go with Jonathan's original idea.
Why not
I can
dream
say
a little bit?
4-2.
You want to go for the full-on 4-3.
The
4-3
4-3.
reverse sweep
Yeah,
denial.
Yes.
No.
It's
Yeah,
not.
go-
It's just fairy tales.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fairy tale.
Imagine if it happened.
You got to be realistic, like the rest of our bracket.
Yeah. Let's do. Let's do four. Let's do like a 4-2, like a 4-2.
Yeah, let's do like a 4-2. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I'm
4-2 for
It's
Shanghai.
like you get hyped for the 4-3, but then it disappoints, and you leave the finals, and you're kind of like.
Is Kurt locking this in?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
locking it in.
That's a 1,000% guaranteed $100,000
100
right
grand. Oh, well.
Oh,
there. Don't leak all your
Put it
information
into
though.
your
Yeah,
info.
don't put your info in.
Do it off stream.
this is where Kurt just controls W's and just stop recording.
He's filling it in now. And meanwhile, I don't know if this is too much. Kurt, can you play the Friends Player of the Week?
Oh my lord!
Oh,
I'm
we're still got a
mentally
Bren
ready
player
for
of the
this.
week.
Is it to you?
Friends Player of the Week, presented by T-Mobile. My player of the week this week is I ran the numbers a little bit with this one, and I decided to because you know me, I'm now kind of like a nomad, a hermit.
Mhm.
I don't really
Troglodyte.
I don't really frequent the internet that much these days. I'm more of a loner. So I don't really get the inside scoop of like, you know, who's playing for Soul Dynasty or who's you know, what the latest news is, the latest drama. I'm actually just completely separated from it, which is a weird thing. But it also means I'm a little bit out the loop with who the biggest candidates should be for Bren's Player of the Week, you know? So I don't really get to see the biggest information. But this one caught my eye, and I came across this one actually. It is the Hangzhou Spark announcing that they have partnered with Billy, and they're making
What is this?
Misaka
Yeah, I don't know,
Mikoto.
what is it?
This is a character from the Railgun anime.
That's what the whole Billy platform was built on, right?
I don't know
And
if it
that's where
was,
the-
but it's
that's where the finger
definitely
gun
what
thing
the
comes from.
Sparks branding was based on, which is like they because I think originally they wanted to be the Hangzhou Railgun, right?
I think they announced. Yeah, they
Yeah.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But the logo is one finger, and she's holding two fingers up.
well, the
So it gives a
logo is
very-
the logo
the
is
logo is two fingers.
Is it?
yeah. The logo is also this is the hand shape that she does in the anime when she's firing off her railgun. So the entirety of Hangzhou's brand was already this, and they've just gone full weeb ahead. And I'm all here for it. I love it. I've been on a bit of an anime binge myself recently. I am also a bit of a weeb. I think this is fantastic. And I mean,
You know
it's just banging on the socials, isn't it?
It has to do with Overwatch. I think that's I'm much happier with this than you know, Links Around Gibraltar or
Yeah.
or whatever
good
the fuck
choice.
we had
Gloucester
last week.
Rugby
Gloucester
Club.
Rugby Club. This
I
is
like this
good.
one. Yeah, it's a
I
good
actually
pick.
don't hate
Yeah.
this.
This is
I'll tell you-
my award. If we're gonna get into if we're gonna get into this, I can hand this out to anyone I want.
Yeah, I mean you shouldn't, but you can.
No, that would be irresponsible. But yeah,
Why? Do you admit that this award has some weight to it?
it does.
It's
Yeah, it does
presented
now.
by
It's
T-Mobile.
prestigious.
Yeah.
The
pretty-
only other
it's
award
pretty
in the year that's presented by T-Mobile is the MVP. So
this is
yeah,
obviously
it's on the
right
same
up
kind of
there.
level.
Yeah.
T-Mobile has presented an award to the Gloucester rugby team in their history.
Yeah.
Like, they can put their own
But
Wikipedia.
they've
Someone
won
should tell
one
them.
week, but this is a marathon. As I say, this is the Bren's Player of the Week final stretch.
I'm trying to think.
Okay,
of some other,
how much do I have
final
to
stretch,
how much do I
dude.
have to PayPal a listener to this podcast to edit in all of Brent's Player of the Week presented by T-Mobile to the T-Mobile Wikipedia page as a running list of an award given out by T-Mobile? Just like as a, you know, it's like bullet point number like 8-4 or something. It's just like Brent's Player of the Week. presented by
before we
T-Mobile.
before we
I think
end.
we're back.
We're not ending
was
for a little bit.
Oh yeah. But before we do that, I want to bring this up because it caught my attention during the week.
Yeah.
Because it got 230 comments on Reddit. And the thread of the title is the Plat Chat gang is unimpressed by this sub's hot take and
Caught
armchair
your
analysis.
attention. I
Once
posted
people
the
defend
thread.
a take, that'll get drive them nuts. I found this thread during the week, and, and I wanted to take some comments from it. And
You know that meme? You know that meme where it's like someone gets something from someone and then says like, "Hey, this is mine now." Yeah, that's Matt's analysis, by the way. Cheers, pal.
I said I found this thread.
Wait. Before we get into that thread, I wanted to say something else, though, because there's another great candidate for Bren's Player of the Week this week that I feel like has gone missing in,
Is it
in all
Mitch
of this.
so that he doesn't leave the Overwatch League scene?
No, but I did like everybody molding about that.
Yeah, everyone.
No,
was just,
but it is another member of the casting talent. If you could bring this up, Kurt, it's this was also, I think this was announced like 5 days ago, wasn't it? I know that it had happened a little bit earlier on, but I think we've got a strong candidate.
Of course.
Strong candidate for Bren's Player of the Week.
This is a
Instead, you gave it to an anime girl.
And Zoe's been robbed. Zoe's been robbed.
Okay,
of
yeah.
Bren's Player of the Week numerous times.
Listen,
Zoe's
all
going
right.
back to look after her father who's having health issues. She's quarantining in the Swiss
Got married.
Alps, and she's just gotten married in order to get back into the country. And you're like, nah, I like anime more.
Zoe is the true waifu.
All right.
None of that weeb bullshit.
You know me. I don't bend to
her
peer
time?
pressure.
Yeah.
I don't bend to peer pressure.
But
I'm like a goddamn titanium rod. I don't bend. Okay, I ain't malleable. You won't be finding me like some high fructose corn syrup action. Okay.
well, Bren gave up his anime waifu for wedding Zoe.
I'm gonna do the impossible. I'm giving up the anime player of the week of Misaka Mikoto, and I'm gonna.
What about giving them co-player of the week?
This is like when Kanye West walked up on the stage and said, "Yo, I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had what, the greatest album of all time back in 2007. Like this is what you've done to my award.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
I think you've put up some great arguments. I'll be honest with you, COVID has been so messed up that I knew this happened, but I thought it was like 2 weeks ago.
I was also going to bring up another candidate that we didn't mention.
Another one?
Yeah.
Come on.
What about Super's cosplay?
That was last
That
week.
was last
we already
week.
covered that last week.
No,
we
it
show
wasn't.
that?
Yeah,
Last
we
week was
showed
a
it.
Gloucester
Yeah, we
rugby
showed
team.
it. Yeah, we showed it for like 2 seconds.
But we talked about it last week because it happened last week.
Oh, right. We wanted to give it to him last week. I thought it happened.
We didn't
this
give it
week.
to him, though. We gave it to the Gloucester rugby team
we
just to
gave
clear
it
that
to
up.
Anyway. Gloucester Rugby's jerseys was way more.
Yeah.
Way
But
more
I will change it. Okay, I'm changing it to Zoe. Zoe
By the
can
way,
have.
that is so creepy that you just pulled
you
a
just
picture of
pulled
Zoe out of.
Yeah.
Why'd you have it lying
Why?
around
Put that
next to
away,
your
yeah.
desk?
Because it's for emote control. I got all my emotes over there.
He
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
if I can
his
just turn
monitor
it,
when he plays.
I just have all my
You got
emotes
a bunch
over there.
of just decapitated heads next to your
Yeah, that's
next
creepy.
to your PC.
Yeah, I got to give it to Zoe. You know, God bless her. She got married as well. I mean, her not even fiance now, her husband.
Jacob's the best.
Mate, Jacob is like, I think he's a real life example of Captain America. You know what I mean? Like when they were trying to find a guy to put in the swole machine who like had all the characteristics of what you'd want to be the epitome of the American hero. I think Jacob would be that if you were to record that film today. So yeah, I mean, so happy for Zoe.
Are you jealous for
Zoe?
Zoe?
What?
You're jealous of Zoe? You wish that you were getting married to Jacob?
A little bit, yeah. I can't deny. You know, that's why I dyed my hair silver as well, to see if I could match him in some way or regard.
If you can't
know?
be with him, you can be him.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, yeah, very, very happy for Zoe. I think a shift of the Player of a Week award over to that.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's never been done before.
Big play.
It's never been done, but yeah, I mean, this entire episode has been a first timer. You know, I was wrong about a player joining a team for the first time.
Never happened before.
That's never happened, actually. Yeah, very surprising.
Also, we said we were going to do an awards show, like where we went through the awards.
We forgot.
Did we? Shite. We were all watching Valorant. We were all watching Valorant on the weekend. We're all watching Pop Flash, and we didn't do it.
Yeah,
So-
no, we.
Yeah, I was watching
We were
COD and
resting.
Valorant.
We're resting.
I remember though. Yeah, I mean, we
Classic
we
WoW.
definitely said, yeah, we'll do an award show on the weekend. We got nothing else on. There's no games on that
Oh.
weekend, and
Oh.
yeah, didn't happen, did it?
We will do one at some point.
Yeah.
We'll
It's
do a
just,
special awards episode. We'll come up with some of our own awards. We'll wait until they've actually been announced at this point, right?
Yeah.
That makes the most sense, and then we can discuss it.
I do think that makes a lot of sense when they're actually announced and fleshed out.
Let me read some of these Pepega takes.
Oh my god!
All
Here
right,
we
go on. Give us the worst 3.
All right. It's from Slamfire_OW. And 38 people agreed with this. Mass Resurrection was a healthy counter to ult dumping. Teams had to actually play around it and stagger out their ults or risk wasting them all. Now there's nothing to stop ult snowballing in scenarios.
What does that even mean? What? So what? So they think that Mercy Resurrect was a good counter to ult snowballing because you dumped all of your ults in and then they just all got negated. Are these takes supposed to be like unpopular opinions you actually believe are true or are just designed to annoy
Here's a good one. Here's a good one. It throws a direct shot at Johnny.
He can't even defend himself.
I know, that's the best part. Speaking of reinforce, he must have gotten a huge cut of that Nevix trade money because he was chief salesman with the shock in lying that he had true secret GOAT off-tank potential of the Overwatch League, who taught Choyobin everything he even knew about off-tanks. The fact that this obvious gassing up became a real narrative deserves props.
Yeah, that, you know what? That's a genuine take.
That's not even a bad take.
That's a real take. There's only occasionally been takes like that where, you know, like you believe what it's when you believe the behind the scenes talk too much.
Yeah.
And it just becomes reality.
Yeah.
That Nevix talk was definitely part of
this
it.
is one that Bren definitely agrees with because it's about to you.
It's about to you. There's a take in there about to you.
It starts off a little bit different. Wizard Hyung has some of the smartest set plays, and guys like Toby and Prophet execute them to perfection. Once TU gets more comfortable playing with the rest of the roster, I can see them being a top 5 team.
That's a copy pasta. I actually remember that. That was a copy pasta from last year. I can't remember which team it was about. Was it about Wizard Hyung? I think it may have been about Wizard Hyung on the Washington Justice.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, probably was. I don't know, man.
There's one that's like a hot take. I don't think it's a Pepega take. Well, let's see. Okay, this one is just a Pepega take. If you removed Alarm from Philly, they're a bottom 5 team.
Shut the fuck up. What if Boombox was playing? They would be a bottom 5
Somebody
team.
then said, Carpe, Hisu, Ivy, EQ, Osato, Fury, Poco, Funny Astro, and Boombox. Yeah, that sounds worse than Houston to me.
Yeah, I mean, that just doesn't make sense. I'm still trying to decipher what the guy was talking about, Mercy Mass Res.
I don't even
because
understand
I think that's just, it's a take if you fundamentally don't understand how the game is played. You know what I mean?
I think it was just somebody trying to pick the most hated ability in the entirety of Overwatch.
But what the point
and
is
trying to say something good about it.
The point they are trying to make is that it was healthy for the game because it. What was it that they said, Matt? That it stopped ult snowballing.
Yeah, ult dumping.
What is ult dumping?
I guess where you just get a big ult advantage and you win based on the ult advantage. I think that's what they mean, where like you just save your ults up and then you dump them all into one big fight. That must be what they mean by ult dumping.
They mean like they don't. It would prevent ult dumping because you're forced to stagger out fights so that they can't get value out of mass res.
Yeah, you can't just throw all your ults at once because they'll get a big res off. I mean, that in itself is just nonsense anyway because people just play around the res. The entire thing, don't hurt your little brain about it, Bren. You've been trying to avoid social to avoid these kind of takes. And now Matt is just piping them out to you like a delivery boy. Just
there's one that got there's one take that got downvoted all the way to the bottom.
It's only got 1 point.
How do you downvote a bad take?
It's only got 1 point. It says Bren's the biggest brain of the 4.
No way, that's only got 1 point. Dude, come on. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's downvoted because it's not a bad take. It's actually a correct take.
Sure,
that's true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me see if I. There was one that I kind of agreed with, which I'm not sure it's that. It's kind of Pepeg, but maybe it's not as Pepang. There should be a console division of Overwatch broadcasted. Like a console, like a mini console Overwatch League broadcasted.
I think there should be.
I think in the off season, seeing some kind of console tournaments and stuff would be cool.
I'd be down.
Because there's so many people that play on console.
Yeah, there's a ton of people to play on console, so I would be down for that because maybe
I think a great thing that you could do is get the best run. You know, there's like console gaming league or whatever, but you would run like a tournament, run one-off tournament like the Fran tournament, and invite all of the console teams to it, and then you would get the best Overwatch League players
to play on
to play on console or can play on console to play against them. Because I think
to see that.
I think the best console players might beat the Overwatch League players.
We should set up
they were forced to all play on console.
A Plat Chat super match screams to me console Overwatch versus Overwatch League or top 500 PC Overwatch.
The best Switch Overwatch team in the world.
We've seen a bunch of like players who were high rated on console switch to PC, but we obviously haven't.
It doesn't happen the other way though, right?
No,
did you ever see
for like rare?
I'm gonna find the video for you. NYXL did a video where they played on console and they had no idea what they were doing. I mean, also probably because consoles aren't very popular in Korea, right? Either. So like the best players in the Overwatch League tend to be Korean and they don't have that much experience on console. So I think it would be so close actually.
We gotta get working on that.
I don't even think it'd be close. Like the controls are just that bad. I tried playing Overwatch on console. I couldn't do it.
You think the console team would just roll?
Actually, I did play Lucio on a controller in those scrims we had last year for Talent Takedown, and I did do pretty well on Lucio.
We'll run a tournament after we do the award show. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. That'll definitely happen.
Idea. I'm gonna put stop to the episode if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah, I'm at the end of my tether.
Johnny is broken. Oh.
Thank you very much for watching the episode. This is my ending to you, my lovely peons who watch me.
Thank you, T-Mobile.
He muted his mic.
Oh, you muted my Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe. Click on the channel. We got some other content and other stuff coming out sometime soon. You already know.
If you're already here, click on the channel.
Click on the channel already. You know, subscribe and all those things. You already know. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.
Bye.